Welcome to the Volusia County Council meeting. The meeting will begin in 10 minutes. Welcome to the Volusia County Council meeting. The meeting will begin in 5 minutes.
Okay, if everybody wants to find a seat, we'll start in about 60 seconds. Okay, we are glad everybody's here. We will call the July 22nd, 2025 Volusia County Council meeting to order at 4:02. Just to give you an idea, for those of you that this may be your first time, we always start with an invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. In just a moment, I'll ask you to stand for the invocation. You can stand if you care to. If you are a member of a faith group who would like to participate in the invocation, please just send an email to K, the letter K, green@volusia.org. This is Carissa over here to your right, and she'll get you set up. You are welcome to participate. And so with that is Pastor Joel Newman in the house with the invocation for today. Maybe he came at 9 o'clock this morning with a few other people. So, okay, why don't we just stand up and we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I have to walk the line? You going to give me a pin? Krista, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Dempsey. Here. Mr. Johansson. Mr. Kent.
Here.
Mr. Reinhardt.
Here.
Mr. Robbins.
Here.
Mr. Santiago. Mr. Brower.
Here. So we do have a quorum today, just short one, and so we will continue the meeting. Do we have any public participation? No, you're too late. Okay, John, I'm sorry, but you're first. John Nicholson. When I call your name, just come up to the podium. Make sure you have a microphone near your mouth. The podium goes up and down to adjust to your height. And there will be a clock on your monitor, and I think on the screen above my head, you have 3 minutes to talk about anything that pertains to Volusia County, something that this council could act on in the future. We ask that you keep your comments to that and keep it respectful of everybody in the room. Thank you, John.
John Nicholson, Daytona Beach side. A couple of things. One, on your agenda, FF, somebody brought it up on the granting of authority. I'm presuming that's to George Rector Mall with the regard to buying of housing, et cetera. You will set aside an X amount of dollars, and he will then just make sure that it's bought and sold properly. Secondly, at the library yesterday, there were 6 EMS and fire trucks at the city library for one person. And the 6 guys, well, 3 girls, 3 guys, sat and talked to the one kid. And then, I don't understand. To me, that's a waste of money to have a fire truck and 2 EMS for one guy. And they sat there for, half an hour, 45 minutes. I remember Heather Post made a comment that we were having a problem with our EMS sitting at the hospitals waiting to get people admitted. So we didn't have enough of them. So we bought ambulances and whatnot. So to have people sitting there, I think we need to look at. Third, at the city commission last week, I was shocked. 3 dozen people showed up complaining about Mosaic. Mosaic is Mario Cini, well respected in the community, and all of a sudden, this sidewalk issue pops up out of nowhere. He's been there 10 years, never heard about it, and I'm wondering what other things are happening in the community that we and you are not aware of. My commission was not aware of it. Nobody had bothered to mention it. Those sidewalks are helter-skelter. Some lean this way, some lean that way. One guy said mine is 2.5 inches below grade, so it fills up with water, so nobody can walk through it. These things have got to be brought out. I'm wondering, when we do, because you don't do as many as Daytona Beach does, but we've got to take a look at it to make sure that what's happening in the cities are kosher and that none of this is being brought to us. Last week, remember Clyde Morris Landing, you put in $500,000 or $2 million into affordable housing, and then within a year, there's complaints. It was shoddy workmanship. The people are not happy with it. So I ask you, find out what the problem is. Have we looked into that? Because if we're pushing affordable housing and there's a problem, I'd rather fix it in the beginning so that we don't repeat it often. So if there's a problem in Daytona Beach that you all contributed the money to, you have a right to find out what the problem was and to make sure that it's never repeated. And lastly, DEI. The Republican Party is pushing to get rid of woke and DEI. I'm asking where the county is on that. Have a good day.
Thank you for your comments. David Hill, and I didn't mention this, but when you come up, just tell us what city, what area you are from in the county so that your representative knows where you are.
Okay. David Hill, I live on Miller Road in Orange City, and I'm here about Miller Lake, and Don Dempsey's our representative. The water has never been as high as it is now. Your retention ponds on Miller Lake have been a lake for the last 5 years. The Royal Oaks pipeline might never allow us to get back to our 2016 lake level. The county has 7+ reasons to revoke your letter of no objection and revoke the Royal Oaks St. John's Water Management Permit. A recent St. John's Water Management Permit has been approved for Orlando Health. This property is in the area of Saxon and Enterprise. When their property can't handle their runoff water, it will flow into Unnamed Lake. Unnamed Lake is what we call Wawa Lake, and it's adjacent to Royal Oaks. Additional St. John's Water Management permits have been applied for on the Big Lots Plaza property. Big Lots Plaza has no retention. It will go to Miller Lake or Lake Wawa. Publix has applied for a new St. John's water management permit to put water in Lake Wawa. I've been told by St. John's Water Management that the water that goes into St. John's water, or the water that goes into Lake Wawa, will eventually go to Miller Lake. Lake Wawa is a third the size of Miller Lake, and it can't handle what it receives now. I'm asking you to fight those permits and protect your property and ours. The people of Miller Lake have never agreed to other people's water, and we don't agree to any more water. If you sit back and do nothing, just, your attitude is let it flood and then we'll pump it out. I think that's reckless because our lake is so high right now. If we have another hurricane, the same thing's going to happen. We would need years and years of no hurricanes to get that water level down. So if you're just going to just do nothing and let it happen, I just really feel that's reckless. You need to fight these permits. We can't handle any more water. The Royal Oaks pipeline will eventually take millions of dollars of our community real estate. It needs to be stopped. Thank you for your time.
Peggy Hill.
Hello, my name's Peggy Hill. I live on Miller Road, and I've brought 2 photos today. The first one is a picture of our front yard. You can see that the water is still in our front yard. And the second one is of Miller Lake from the road, Miller Road. You can see that it's still very, very full. So full that if there's another large rain event, it will flood again. It will flood worse than it flooded in Milton, because before Milton, it wasn't this full. It doesn't have to happen. Pump it down, revoke the St. John's Water Management 2017 permit that was given to Royal Oaks with no objection from the county. At the last county council meeting, your staff stated that the plan was to act similarly to what we did in the last rainstorm, walking through acres of neighbors' yards with bears, having access cut off for emergency vehicles and garbage, eventually having a 1-lane road across the water, paid for by the county, displaced wildlife, destruction of habitat and 100-year-old trees, homes flooded, septics and wells flooded. And the plan is to let that happen again and then do something. It will be worse when it happens again because the lake level is so high. That means there's more homes flooded, more damage, just the destruction goes on. I'd like to ask if properties are to be purchased on Miller Lake, that residents be notified ahead of time, not just have it be a surprise. Please do something, tell your staff to ask for the 2017 permit to be revoked, pump down Miller Lake, and stop any further St. John's Water Management District permits that are draining toward Miller Lake. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine Levinson.
I hope you guys had a nice break. For you, I'm glad you're here. Catherine Levinson, Miller Lake on Shady Lane. And unfortunately, I'm here because Orange City disavows us. Our address is Orange City. Don't know why. We are county. We are county through and through. Our property's county. Everything we do is county. We have nothing to do with Orange City. And they let us know that. So they already went and got another approval of a place to drain into Wawa Lake, which will then drain to us, just like you've been told. And they're looking to get 2 more permits, one for Publix and one for Big Lots, to drain more water into us. I mean, as the county, I would think you guys would want to protect us. We're you. We are you. And we don't want to be annexed because Orange City's trying to annex property between them and us. So we're next. They'll try for us next. I don't want to be annexed. I want to stay county. Our whole area is pridefully county until we're not being protected. And we really, really need you guys to protect us. So I need everybody to please look at the permits. Please stop them. They're asking for too much. Yes, this was a 100-year flood or 1,000, whatever we're talking about now, but it doesn't mean it won't happen again this year or next year or the year after that. Then what? You guys need to protect us. I mean, I've met some of you personally. You're good people. I would really think you'd want to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. David Kremer.
Dave Kramer, Orange City, Miller Lake, live on Shady Lane. Don's our representative. So our house is still uninhabitable. The water's no longer surrounding it. But we found our daughter a place not in Volusia County. Now there's thousands or literally tens of thousands I could put into the house to make it livable again, to level it, to repair the floors, AC, ventilation, electrical, the septic, but there's likely a 100% chance that it'll flood again. The original part of the house is 58 years old. There's never been water surrounding it. So based on one of the definitions of the FEMA 100-year floodplain is there's a 1% chance that you'll flood in those 100 years. So did we meet that 1% last year? FEMA said no. They came out and I understand they told some of the neighbors that it's a man-made problem. So FEMA did nothing. Now, is there a 1% chance this year? Today, the water's still at the FEMA flood line. So I'd say there's a 100% chance it's going to flood again. Now, in the June meeting, this council asked George Reckenwald if there was any update on Miller Lake, and you did say that, yeah, we'll do the same. We talked with St. John's River Management, and we're going to do the same thing we did last time. And basically that means nothing will happen right away. Tens of millions of gallons may be allowed to flow into Miller Lake through that Royal Oaks system that we're asking that permit to be revoked. And again, so do the same thing. That means properties are going to flood. Septics are going to be destroyed. Wells are going to be contaminated. Access to driveways and roads will be limited. Access to fire and medical will be limited. There was a pump that was put there to pump it. I'd say it did about 1/10 of the water, maybe 2/10 of what was allowed to flow in there. And then if we just do the same thing again, we'll continue to be here every month, explaining the problems, researching permits, and asking for help month after month. So the request is if the council asks George again to do just a little more than the same. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Connie Colby.
Connie Colby, Ormond Beach, District 4. This has kind of changed because you've changed your agenda, so I'm going to be jumping around a little bit. There's a picture that's showing right now. I have never seen a motocross track before, but we were out in Colorado and passed this along the road. It's the first time I've seen what they look like. It looks to me like, I looked it up, it's called Thunder Valley. It has about a mile and a half of track. Looks like it takes up quite a bit of space. Looks similar to what I've read that you're looking at with campgrounds and RV places and spectator areas as well. Land-wise, I don't know how it would fit into what we're talking about here, but I don't know that I would like to see that in one of our county parks. Hopefully, might be I remember not too long ago, you asked about vacant land in the county and wanting a list about that. I don't know if that's ever been provided recently. If you could look around and see if there might be another possibility for an opportunity for that. I'm not opposed to the motocross as a place for kids to ride, but I don't like it in a county park. I don't like the $1 million price tag that's just starting with right now. And it seems like a dangerous sport for the county to be responsible for. I've also looked, I don't need that anymore, Carissa. Don't know when this motocross thing started, but I did go through a request for information and found that it looked like there's a contract with Hunden back in September of 2023, which is like a year and a half ago. And I don't know if we're missing something or not as far as public participation, but I haven't seen a whole lot of opportunity for public to participate in this. That contract was already signed. And what I have up there on the screen was an amendment to that was sent along with the contract that I was able to read. And the money that's on there seems like an awful lot. I don't know. Maybe there's some explanation we might get for this for $69,300 for phase one, and some other large sums of money that come after that as well. Anything else I've got here? Also, I keep seeing things like capital improvement updates for the past 3 years. Money that's been put in here for $1 million and more. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy Karaginas.
Good afternoon, Council. Jeremy Karaginas, President, Local 3574. I'm here today. I would have been here at this last council meeting regarding the fire fund and the potential rollback of it. I've been a firefighter here 20 years. I've been through the highs and lows, staffing shortages, offered a job at corrections, and we've been operating out of these fire stations that are still poorly located. Extended response times, getting to the patients in a quicker manner. Over the past few years, though, this council and those of you who served on the previous council have really taken the measures of improving our staffing, getting us 3 people in a fire truck, putting that money there to get these fire stations built, relocated, so we can get to those emergencies quickly. These improvements save lives and protect our community. And much of this progress, I believe, is because we've kept a flat millage. Our voters back in 2016 approved a higher millage and tasked the council at the time to get some projects done, get these fire stations built, get our staffing levels done. I don't believe the full scope of what's happening in the field, gets presented here. I think the bean counters present something a little bit differently. We still operate a fire station with 2 people. It's in the middle of nowhere, and it's tough to run a structure fire with 2 people. Our guys today pulled somebody from a burning building. They got pulses back, and it's because they had 5 people on scene. We wait consistently on scene for ambulances, 30, 40, 50 minutes. We have BLS ambulances now. A lot of my paramedics ride in on them. This causes the engine to be out of service, not available for fire calls, and ultimately just delaying patient care and leaving us available for what we're there for, is those true emergencies. I just, rolling back the millage now would stall or reverse the progress you guys have made. There's no initiatives or bond ratings to build fire stations. A lot of our stuff has come from the inflated reserves we have. I just respectfully urge you to continue supporting public safety, maintain the funding so we have enough firefighters to get on scene and relocate our stations. So I appreciate that. I sent you guys an email. It's got a few attachments on there. I'm always available if you have any questions on it. So thank you.
Thank you. Deanna Leslie.
My name is Deanna Leslie, and I live in DeLand. And unfortunately, I have to tell you that somebody has been operating underneath the name Diane Matusik and coming from the courthouse. So legal mail has been coming from the courthouse operating underneath the name Diane Matusik still in the day 2025. As we all know, Diane Matusik was in office from 92 to 2016 and unfortunately passed away in 2018. I highly recommend every person in this room listen to exactly what I'm telling you. Her name is still being used on current day mail. Okay? 2025. We have April mail and May mail. Okay? Here's the problem. If you respond to the mail that got sent to you from Diane Matusik, you respond to it, guess what happens? My dad's a retired mailman. It comes back to you, doesn't it? It affects a lot of people.
Thank you for the information. Catherine Pante?
Good afternoon, Council. Catherine Pante, Slow the Growth of Volusia. I'm here to request that this council direct staff to partner with Orange County and the City of Deltona to file a court challenge against the state of Florida on the recently signed legislation SB 180. This legislation impacts local home rule and hinders us from making necessary land use changes to protect public safety, public health, and public welfare. I've questioned the constitutionality of this legislation from the beginning, and this council should as well. Volusia County adopted a home rule charter following a voter-approved referendum on June 30th, 1970. This went into effect January 1st, 1971. The adoption of our home rule charter gave Volusia County greater control over our own affairs rather than being governed directly by the state legislature. In Florida, home rule language was proposed in the 1968 constitutional revision and was adopted by the people. After several legal challenges, the legislature adopted the Home Rule Powers Act in 1973, which ended challenges related to city and county powers. Article 8, Section 2B grants these powers in the Florida Constitution. Volusia County set precedent back in 1970 by being the first county in the state of Florida to adopt home rule powers, pursuant to the 1968 Florida Constitution. That was a display of true leadership by our county government during that time. The 7 of you have a choice. You can display the same leadership by taking the lead with our Orange County neighbors, or you can be cowards and falsely claim your hands are tied. This needs to be discussed today prior to the end of this meeting with direction given to staff on how to proceed. Next, I would like to make a public FOIA request for an email dated June 20th, 2025 that was sent to George Reckenwald, Susan Conchin, Clay Irving, from Councilman Danny Robbins. I would also like all subsequent emails sent to code and any other documents pertaining to the Singleton complaint. I have sent 2 prior FOIA requests via email, one July 7th and another July 17th, and have not received nothing to date. This complaint filed by Councilman Robbins against the Singletons in Tomoka Farms Village gives the appearance of an elected official weaponizing code enforcement against his neighbor for supporting his political opponent, Brian White. This is bullying behavior by a sitting councilman and should not be hidden or condoned by our county government. Thank you. And as far as the fire trucks go, Daytona has 4 on a truck, 2 in, 2 out on a fire. The county deserves the same to protect their firefighters. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more? Then we will close public participation for this portion of the meeting. And we're going to park on item 1 just a minute because we have 2 changes to the agenda that need to be made. The first one, in order, because there's probably people here sitting that would be sitting until item 18 came up. Item 18 is on today's agenda. It's a special exception for a 195-foot tall communications tower at 2665 Volco Road in Edgewater. The item was continued from the June 30, 2025 hearing until today. The applicant has provided a letter formally requesting a continuance until the August 5th, 2025 County Council hearing. The applicant states that they are continuing to work with neighboring property owners and would like the opportunity to complete the process prior to the matter being heard against the county, again by county council. So in order to abide by the law and to have proper public notice, I would ask for a motion to continue item 18 to a date and time certain of August 5th, 2025 at a time no sooner than 9 a.m.
Chair, I'm coming up as Donna Craig.
Yeah. Donna, would you like to,
Maybe something happened I didn't know about.
I think she's on PLDRC.
I'll make that motion to item 18 continue to August. You say August 5th?
Yes.
August 5th county council meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Robbins makes a motion. David Santiago makes a second. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that change passes unanimously, 7-0. 6-0. That's right. We're short one. The other change I'm requesting to make is only because I'm afraid we will run out of time if it waits until the final comments from council. I have had discussions for a couple weeks with our county attorney, Michael Dyer, and some of his staff about Senate Bill 180. I'm going to call on the attorney in just a second, but he has shown the willingness and the interest to rewrite that law so that it's not so broad, that it's more specific and actually accomplishes what the legislature intended it to accomplish. I talked to one of our representatives, Chase Tremont, today, who said he would actually work with us and he would take that to leadership. We will also use our new person in Tallahassee to do that, our lobbyist. Thank you. So what I need from the council, we don't have to take any more time than this. I'll ask Mike if he would like to say anything, is just for a vote by this council to send it back to staff, to Michael Dyer and his team, to bring us back options for rewriting this language. Mike, am I misstating what you and I talked about?
That's correct. We could bring an agenda item back if council directs at a future meeting, and you have a new lobbyist, of course, that you're working with. So, I think they would be point, obviously, in interacting with legislature. They're your lobbyists, but I think certainly the bill, if council wishes, the county could attempt to lobby for changes to it to narrow its scope.
Correct. I think the cities in Volusia need that help. Today on our agenda, we're going to have to void item JJ, which is good regulations for stormwater management that we passed in February in our meeting trying to solve flooding problems. And now this bill, this very broad bill, causes us to have to void that. So, Councilman Robbins.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree. I think that it would be wise to get this as an agenda item. That way we can all get a full scope of our options. We also have to be careful about unintentionally poking the state in the eye as we're asking them for help. I just want to make sure all of our moves are surgical and precise so we don't make any mistakes, create unnecessary liability and whatnot. So I'd make the motion to have the county attorney bring back this item on a future agenda to explore further options of possible modification of the bill.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Vice Chair Reinhardt. So we have a motion to send this back to staff, who will bring it back to a future county council meeting, hopefully as soon as possible, because our cities do need help, and give us the options so that we can adequately discuss it and give you further direction.
I'm sorry, Matt's
David.
First. No, Matt's first. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair.
Vice Chair Reinhardt.
Thank you. I have to agree. I mean, the premise behind taking this matter further, what you were able to accomplish by reaching out to the state legislature and are willing to work with it, accomplishes what we would have probably accomplished if we took it further. So I have to agree. I mean, this does it without conflict, without upsetting both parties, and we come to some sort of resolution. I'm a firm believer that you just don't, how do you word this, jump on board without trying to allow the state to fix this.
Right.
And by reaching out to him like you did, I appreciate that, because that hopefully will accomplish what we want to without having to take the matter to a higher level. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Santiago?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is the right way to do it, exactly the right way to do it. I just wanted to maybe wordsmith that a little bit differently and just maybe propose that for the county to look at proposed amendments to the law instead of a rewrite. It's just wordsmithing. I know that's the intent. I'm just wordsmithing, Mr. Chair, but I think this is the right way to go about this to affect the change that we're not happy with.
Okay, agreed. Thank you. Councilman Dempsey?
Yeah, I just, Mike, if you can clarify this or affirm this, even if we do nothing, it's not like we'll not be beneficiaries of this, correct?
A lot has happened over the last 2 weeks, and I would assume there will be more activity with different local government, cities and counties around the state dealing with this. I would assume that other local governments would be interested in possible changes to the bill. We know in following City of Deltona and Orange County that they have been faced where the bill provides a means for someone to send them a notice, a developer's attorney, arguing their position that the government's position has violated Senate Bill 180. I would assume they'll be in litigation as well. In addition to, I think, some local governments being interested in possibly changing the bill outside litigation.
Okay, so we're hearing that Orange County is already taking the ball and running with it. Is that right?
And of course, this changes day to day. My understanding is both Deltona and Orange County have received notices from different law firms that action they have taken violates Senate Bill 180. Deltona is involved adoption of a building moratoria, and Orange County involved a comprehensive plan amendment involving the rural growth boundary.
Okay, so we've just heard from a public speaker that we should join Orange County in their fight. So are they continuing the fight, or do we?
I don't know yet. I know that their commission took the action to not repeal their comprehensive plan amendment. Based on the notice they've received from a law firm, I'm assuming litigation will result.
Okay. Yeah. So just to reiterate, even if as part of your presentation when you come back to us,
yep.
Can you also tell us which other municipalities or counties are already committed to litigating this issue? And it's correct. It only even a little town of Pearson could fight this, and the whole state would benefit if they won, correct?
Yes, I'm happy to go into that. Then at this point, the only two jurisdictions that I know have received notices from law firms taking issue with action taken by their governing bodies are Deltona, Orange County, and Manatee County, based on media reports.
Okay, so when you
glad
come
to
back,
update you.
I think it's great what Danny proposed and Matt, but I'd like to, and David, but I want to see it come back with that information as well, because if other counties are going to take the point, then I guess that would affect maybe our decision on how we.
Well,
want
and just to
join
be
or
clear
not.
too, I think, we as your staff are going to be looking for your direction on how to change that. We can certainly talk about that as part of the presentation and talk about what's in the bill and what your direction is.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Santiago.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to ask Mr. Chair and Council, and to our city attorney, county attorney.
He's been demoted
yeah, you demoted twice, yeah. And to our city manager, joking. Either at the end of today's council meeting, or when you bring back proposed amendments to Senate Bill 180, can we have a comprehensive explanation for this council and maybe members of the public that are interested in what does home rule mean legally? Right? Where are those boundaries and some historical perspectives as to how home rule came about and how does it apply to us legally. I think that'll be beneficial for the council to understand that.
You like me to go into that now or wait?
Can you give us a brief narrative and then maybe we get in deeper later? 'Cause we got a big agenda.
I have a 80 slide PowerPoint ready.
White paper.
There's a lot of confusion over what home rule is in Florida. Home rule has a lot of benefits, many benefits to charter counties and cities in Florida. In 1968, the Constitution that we're operating off now introduced home rule to charter counties and cities. We were the third charter county in the state. The first charter county became a charter county after that constitutional amendment in 1968. The prior constitution before that was adopted in the 1880s, 1885, I believe. And the rule before 1968 was something called Dillon's Rule. I don't know if any of you have heard of that. Dillon's Rule meant you local government, you county, city, you only have that authority which the legislature gives you. And so whenever we would write an ordinance before 1968, we would need to go through the statute books and find authority to write it on that subject. In 1968, it allowed charter counties and cities to have all those powers unless the legislature otherwise provides. And that's what the Constitution provides. Sometimes you see laws that treat charter counties different than other types of counties. Beach driving is one of those. We have beach driving today because charter counties, there was an exception for charter counties that had adopted beach driving as of a certain date, and we qualified. Otherwise, around the state, beach driving is prohibited by state law. So what home rule is not, it is not a sword. It is not a basis for a charter county to sue the legislature to say that our home rule powers generally have been infringed on. The legislature is a superior legislative government. They can decide what to preempt us on. I think we're tracking about 200 areas that we are preempted on different subjects. Some mundane and others controversial like this one. There are some exceptions. Let me put it this way. When somebody says, well, we want to challenge the constitutionality of a law, and county, you should do it. Local governments, counties, cities, and school boards largely do not have standing to file a lawsuit to invalidate a state law arguing that it's unconstitutional. There are exceptions. I don't think they apply here, and they're narrow. So a standing is a fancy way, and Don would agree, fancy way of saying you have the authority to make this argument in court. You may have a winning argument. You may be able to argue that something's unconstitutional, but if you don't have standing, you cannot bring the claim. So I think that is set up that way because we are an inferior government. Even though we have more enhanced home rule powers than non-charter counties, ultimately we're subject to the authority of the legislature if they choose to regulate a subject and tell us something must be done a certain way. We may not like it. We may think it's a bad idea, but the legislature has that authority. The Constitution also did not create counties. It authorized them, if approved by the legislature. So the 67 counties we have in Florida today, if you go to a certain chapter in Florida statutes, every county is created. The boundaries are identified, and they can amend those boundaries and they can abolish us under the Constitution. So I get that people are frustrated, that they think, well, my local government knows best for me in a certain area. And that very well may be true. It just is not the structure constitutionally and how counties are set up. Ultimately, if the legislature chooses to do something in this area, they can do so.
Just one simple follow-up. Is there any case law that's shown any success in a governing body other than the exceptions that you said? Successfully?
Well, no. Well, there's actually case law to the opposite where this argument has been attempted. One of the closest ones I remember is county. It's actually a local case. Seminole County and City of Lake Mary made a similar argument, and for the 5th District Court of Appeals argued that their interpretation of an issue, their regulation, was supported by home rule, and they lost on that in attempting to invalidate the statute. So, yes, there is case law. I'd be glad to. It won't be 80 slides next time, but
So there's a lot of case law that shows that they all lost.
I mean, this has been an extensively litigated idea, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'll be frank. It's because the legislature perhaps has adopted some things that local governments don't like, and there's been litigation on that subject in the past. So this is not saying what they have done in all subjects just because we're preempted is right. It's just that they can.
That, on the spot, that was a pretty good argument. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Thank you for asking. I will point out that that's not what we're asking you to do, fortunately. You are going to, as the motion says and as David clarified, the motion by Councilman Robbins was to bring this back at a future, hopefully very soon, county council meeting with proposed amendments. And it's really a very narrow section of this bill that needs to be amended. Most of it is fine. It's, in my opinion, it's the last couple sections, but
that's correct.
We'll see what you come back with. So thank you for the motion. Thank you for the second. Any other questions? All in favor of sending this back to the legal staff to bring it back to us for discussion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries.
And I'm very much looking forward to having John Booker give that presentation.
Yes. He's going to have to wear his three-piece suit. Okay. Okay. With that said, then, item 1, we've made 2 changes. The rest of the agenda stands. May I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
To approve by Matt Reinhardt, second by David Santiago. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the agenda is approved 6-0. That takes us to a consent agenda. Let me ask 2 questions. Does anyone have any item that they would like to pull for a vote? Okay, I'm going to ask the second question now and then go down the list here. Also, if you have an item that you would just like to comment on after the vote. Councilman Robbins.
Thank you, Chair. Just for discussion, item O, I'd like some more information on that, but also like to talk about item EE. Sorry to steal your thunder, Don, if that was the reason.
Item, say that again, EE?
Item EE.
Okay.
But also note that item HHGGFFEE, I can't read my own writing, DD, CC, BB, AA, Z are all flood related. And I wanted to point that out, that our staff is full bore ahead on getting some of these issues. But item EE and item O for me.
Okay, Troy Kent.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Item O, I wanted to get some information and have a vote on it.
Okay.
Pulling O for a vote.
Yeah. Okay. O for a vote. Kent and Councilman Dempsey.
Item A for a vote.
For a vote.
Denny, before I make my motion, was EE for a vote?
Discussion.
Just discussion?
Yeah, both, Mr. Kemp.
vote
for,
also?
For discussion, and I'll vote if you choose to, go that route.
For EE?
No, discussion only.
Oh, discussion only, okay.
Did you want to vote on it?
No, I just wanted to vote on O, and Don wants A, so I'm going to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, absent items A and O.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the agenda except for item O and A. And yeah, let me catch up to you. And Danny, you seconded.
Yes, sir.
And for discussion, David Santiago.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo, again, Councilmember Robbins' comments on that there are several items with millions of dollars that are going to flooding infrastructure projects. I know there's a narrative out there, a false narrative that we're not doing much. This is exactly the opposite. There's a lot that's been happening and a lot that continues to happen in conjunction with cities and the county work. So thank you, staff, for bringing these now finalized to the next step. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
For discussion also.
Okay, then I have three names up still. Troy, did you have a comment? Don Dempsey? Vice Chair Reinhardt.
Thank you, Chair. And to piggyback on what Mr. Santiago said, just in Daytona Beach alone, district, there's 4 lift stations, which total $1.7 million of funding that will go to help rebuild those that are addressed specifically for some of the flooding in those areas. So that needs to be mentioned so people, I want to make sure that they're aware of the fact that so much money is going for that. So it was a good move on staff. Excellent.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion to approve except for O and A, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. So let's start with the discussions first. Okay, we'll do that. EE for Mr. Robbins.
And staff, I thank you. And you don't have to go through all the other ones I had noted, but mainly because we have the residents of Miller Lake here, and I know that we're a little bit restricted as council going into depth about some of these issues, that there's possible litigation. I just want to make sure that you cover that. And,
yes, sir. This is, I know it's a little, they're real close in name, Miller Lake. This is Mill Lake. So this is within the city of Orange City. So it's a great project. It's actually, I think, the largest one we awarded in the first round. Experienced significant flooding. They have an existing pump station and force main that pumps to the river. They're proposing this project will design, permit, and construct a significantly larger force main and pump station, and they'll be pumping to a borrow pit that the county had originally acquired for some recharge, but it will work great as stormwater. So.
Can we expect any other projects in Orange City?
It depends on when they apply. We have multiple rounds opening up. I'm going to let Donna answer that one.
So we'll open up again in the fall. However, they have, they're getting ready to start several stormwater studies, and I think they're waiting for those stormwater study results to come back prior to applying. Most of the cities are.
Do we have an idea of when that may happen, or is that kind of up in the air?
Yeah, those are in progress. We're working on, bringing the proposals and scopes to y'all to get that going. We're focusing on multiple areas in Orange City, such as the hospital and some areas that will tie into this project as well. This project, Mill Lake, represents kind of like their master stormwater pond and pump station, and from there they'll be able to tie into it once this project's done and move and address some of the other localized flooding they've experienced.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Quick question, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Will this project help the issue on Graves as it dips down over there by John Knox Village?
Not directly, but part of that is by creating capacity in Mill Lake. The hope would be someday to have an adjacent project that would be able to move water into this direction. That's part of the area that's getting studied.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Don, I want to make sure you were O and A, correct?
Just A.
Just A, okay. We have a special guest in the room tonight with Director Lynn. Can you come up and give us the good news on KK? This is the Ocean Center in response to what the council has asked the Ocean Center to do with music for our residents.
Good evening, gentlemen. I am very excited and honored to introduce you to Joe, who he can give you a little bit more detail about his role with Danny Wimmer Presents, which was item KK. So with that, I'm going to turn it over, and then any questions that you have, he's here to answer them, or I will answer them.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Litvag. I'm with Danny Wimmer Presents. I oversee the company's expansion into facility management and programming initiatives.
What are you going to do for us?
Book some shows.
I'm agent to Troy Kent. He does a mean air guitar. Just want to let you know in case you need someone.
And harmonica. Don't forget harmonica.
We'll negotiate.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself. That was the, we've already prolonged the meeting, so I appreciate the very brief explanation that you had. But we're glad you're here, and I look forward to, was it Red Hot Chili Peppers you wanted? Or you could bring a good band, Coldplay.
Coldplay or Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're both on the list. Got it.
Okay.
We'll work really hard to
no kissing videos, cameras.
No kiss cams. No more kiss cams. I think they've been outlawed.
Yeah. All right. Good. Nice work, Lynn. Thank you very much. Any other questions from? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item A for a vote.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, gentlemen of the council, Cyrus Callum, Aviation and Economic Resources.
Okay.
Sure.
Go
ahead.
Cyrus, obviously I appreciate everything you're doing for the airport. You've created a magical thing out there. You got all these airlines now coming in, more routes coming. This is awesome that you're getting Cleveland in it. My only question is this coming out of the general fund?
No, sir. This is coming out of the airport's enterprise revenue fund, and this is customary anytime we have a new market. These are one of those incentives that we employ to help promote the service, help advertise that new market. So this is Cleveland, and it's one of our top 20 markets, basically through Akron, Canton, Ohio. And we're able to get this service. I have a relationship with the colleague, the director of aviation at Akron Canton Airport, and so we kind of squoze the airline a bit and convinced them to come and pair our two markets together. And so just checking the stats already, they're already booking out service from Daytona Beach to Akron Canton. It starts September 3rd, so very, very happy about it.
And what funds this pool of money where this is going to come out of?
These are airport revenues.
It's all from airport
all
revenues?
from the airport, yes, sir.
So it's self-generated money. It doesn't come from the tax base or the millage?
Not from the tax base.
Okay. Is there maybe you can explain the dynamic between that and the advertising authority? I mean, that's on the agenda today, coincidentally. You know, we've got 26 million here that we're dealing with for advertising. Basically, it sounds similar to what you're doing in this project, which I'm all in favor of.
Right. Well, for small markets, every little bit helps. And so this is what we're going to talk about later is a partnership that we have with the ad agencies. But for airports, the Federal Aviation Administration allows us to use a limited amount of airport revenues to help market new service. And so what we would do is put this on social media, put this on billboards around town. If you're driving down I-4 and you notice there's a variety of billboards that we have going out towards Orlando, just to remind people of the different service that we have, we would be able to allow this new service to Akron Canton to be a part of that program.
Okay. My main concern was that this wasn't coming out of the general fund.
No taxpayer money, and that's the thing. Everything for the most part at the airport is user fee generated. So the FAA mandates, and they want airports to be self-sufficient, that money that's made on the airport stay on the airport. But transversely, we also want to make sure that the airport is generating its own ability to create its own financial stability. And so this is all part of that.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Yep.
And Director Kalin, this 150,000 goes to any new airline that comes into Volusia County?
Yes, that if it's any new route for a new airline that comes into Volusia County, we allow that $150,000, and it's only maxed out to 2 years. And so that's a federal aviation regulation.
So my point was to make it clear that it's not just a special deal for Breeze.
Right.
It's one of the ways you market our airline.
That's exactly it.
Airport.
The FAA doesn't allow us to discriminate based on the different air carriers as well. So what we offer to one airline, we have to offer to another new entrant.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve item A on the consent agenda.
Okay. Mr. Kent makes a motion to approve. Second was by Don Dempsey. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And you're approved 6-0. Thank you for the explanation.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And that takes us to item O, the Echo Advisory Committee. There he is.
Hey, Dr. Burbaugh, you don't mind if I start since I pulled it? So, Dr. Burbaugh, I'll never put you in a position to like in a gotcha position. I'm not that guy, and I have too much respect for you. But I got an email from my board appointment to Echo. He's been on the board for 3 meetings now, and he had mentioned in the correspondence that in the 3 meetings he's been there, they've not had a discussion on the 2025 work plan. And I just thought, I believe that. So my question to you was there a discussion about it probably before he got on there? And then if there was, is it problematic for us to hold off on this to allow the board that's currently there to have that meaningful discussion? That's my goal today. My goal is for our Eco Advisory Board, all of the ones that are currently on there, this board has said, yes, we're going to approve these individuals, that they don't leave any meat on the bone.
Yes, sir. So typically there's kind of 2 models that we use. One is we do the annual plan for the goals and the annual report after appointments in March. So typically in April. Some committees do it at the calendar year, so they start in January with a thought of if you have a new board, they may not have the knowledge to have the plan of work or to contribute to that plan of work. This one was done in January. We just had a meeting with the team, and we're going to go to the April timeline with both Forever and Echo in order to allow new members who are appointed in March every 2 years to be able to contribute.
Okay, so would it be problematic for us to postpone this and bring this back and have all members have an opportunity to talk about the 2025 work plan?
We certainly could. I would say that the 2025 work plan and every work plan that we do is aligned with the enabling resolution that's adopted by this council. So when you establish a advisory committee, you basically give it a charge in that first page saying these are your duties. So that aligns perfectly with what we're presenting today.
And I don't want to micromanage, but I do think it's important to have every member of an advisory board, especially one like Echo that has serious dollars tied to it, that the wonderful people in this county voted them to tax themselves to have this program. I think it's important that we get those voices, because some of the other comments I heard were that it was generic. You know, when you look at the list, it's generic. It's not fine-tuned and detailed and things like that. And maybe that was by design. But I thought this, postponing this and allowing that opportunity, that discussion to happen would solve that concern. That was all.
Our next meeting's not until October, so we would have to bring it back then if that was the case. And it is kind of all-encompassing by design. And that is, I've brought stuff before that was outside their lane to council, and the council questioned kind of why are we doing these things out of the scope of the charge.
I hear what you're saying. But I just want to make sure, again, if we waited until October, it would not negatively affect anything Echo is doing.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Just one other question for you. I know that we had hired a consultant to work with Echo on planning strategy, and I don't see any reference into it in the item. Did that happen? Consultant came in, and was it successful? What did they do?
So it is in the work plan and goals. It's referenced a few times. They're continuing to work on it. I will say, this was a council-approved action as part of annual goals, I believe, a year ago or the year before. It took us 3 times of putting the solicitation out on the street to find a consultant. We finally found one, and they should be presenting their findings to this council in October.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Can this council add anything to the work plan?
That'd be sure. I mean, it's
I stumped
your
everybody up there. Has it never been done? Suggestion, maybe just you and staff talk about it and maybe bring it back in this October meeting. But I would, because of this, I'm also hearing from members that were confused. We do have new members. I would like for you to consider adding a workshop for the committee on the process of reviewing these grants, not just looking through all the various categories and that, but kind of drilling down more on basic essentials of running a nonprofit, because they're approving nonprofits that we have seen in the past, not very often, but a couple times, didn't have a good strategy, didn't have a good maintenance plan, and they failed, and we had to get money back and sometimes didn't. So just a meeting to discuss those essentials, that they need a business plan, maintenance plan, strategic plan. And I'm not trying to embarrass you, assuming that you're not teaching them that. I've just never heard of it. The new members I'm hearing from have never had that as a benefit. So.
Right. And they haven't been through a cycle yet. So One of the things that we go over with new members is our rubric scorecard, which I think has helped a lot. So it basically, using a rubric-based system allows you to give points based on the criteria that you're evaluating against. And if they've done an excellent job, they'll get the highest point value, and a satisfactory job and so on. But we can certainly offer training to new members. That's something that we're always available to do, and consultation. I will say in the past, we did offer this to the committee and other nonprofits in the community. And the committee voted to support our efforts working with nonprofits, but exempted themselves from attending.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Robbins.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to make sure, Brad, I didn't see it on here, but just double checking, there was some conversation, some questions about legacy project.
Yes.
Does that have any involvement on this
No,
item?
sir. That will come to you.
In the future agenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman
I'll
Santos.
say, I know you laughed when I said exempted, but ECHO probably meets the most out of any advisory council that we have.
They're pretty active.
Probably 10 meetings a year, so they do meet a significant amount.
Thank you. Councilman Santiago.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to table item O to the second meeting of October.
Second.
Okay, second meeting of October, which will be a night meeting. So the motion is to table O until that point. The second was by Troy Kent. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Kent. And unless I missed one, I think that clears up the consent agenda. Yes.
It's showtime now.
It's showtime.
Travel show.
Okay, item 3. Where is the man dressed in? Okay. Item 3 is a fiscal year 2025-26 advertising authority budgets by Halifax Area Advertising, Southeast Volusia Advertising, and West Volusia Advertising.
Motion to approve.
Second.
What was this for? Oh, I did not. Can you sit right on the front row a second?
Sure.
I neglected to call. We had a request from somebody from the public. Alyssa Jackson, are you still here? You are. And I'm sorry that I overlooked you. This was for consent item QQ?
Correct. Okay. Well, hi, my name is Alyssa Jackson. I live in Longleaf Plantation, and I have for the better part of a decade. And I'm all for roundabouts. They are really good traffic tools, and they really do help in proper spots. And today I'd like to explain why I believe that this is not a proper spot and why it should not be given to the engineering company. Sorry, I'm nervous.
You're doing well. You're doing fine.
So this roundabout would be at the entrance of two neighborhoods, which doesn't necessarily make any sense to me, because people do get confused by roundabouts, as we all know, and missed turns would clog up the neighborhoods, and the construction would be an inconvenience to residents as well. And there is a school zone right there. The school bus parks right outside the neighborhood, and the parents also park along the road, and both the construction and the roundabout would hinder that. And I can only assume that the school bus would stop in the same spot, and the people stopping behind the school bus would back up into the roundabout, and therefore prevent people from leaving their neighborhoods. If the goal is the goal cited is because traffic issues, living there for the better part of a decade, I have never once seen a crash or a close call or anything, not even on Taylor Road entirely. But if the goal is to slow people down, you could instead try things like speed bumps, speed cameras, maybe even a four-way stop would be fine, like the one that is on Aquarius in Taylor. But the roundabout, I just think, is not a very good idea, and other residents I have talked to have agreed with me. Thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere yet. You did a great job, and I want to commend you for coming in and taking part in your local government and for being so well prepared with a reasonable argument based on facts. Councilman Santiago has a question for you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, yeah, because she's making public comment, which I appreciate it. Thank you. Good job. And since we already voted on the item, I'd like to afford the opportunity maybe to get those points at least addressed from staff. And if the council chooses that her comment or whatever changes our position, we can act on it also accordingly.
That's exactly what I
so
wanted to say.
I wanted to, with the chair's permission, if maybe Tad can address some of the young lady's concerns.
Matt, you were going to
That's
make
the exact same thing. I saw
Okay.
Tad eagerly walking up to do that, so maybe we can address
This is our chief engineer.
Tad Casbeer, County Engineer. Yes, I appreciate the questions and the comments regarding the roundabout at this location. What we're asking for at this point is a design contract, not actually to move into construction. We did perform a study at that location. We've had quite a few complaints from the residents in both Bent Oaks and Longleaf Plantation to the south, indicating that they've had a problem. One, with the speeding that occurs out there. The speed limit just to the east of the intersection changes from 50 down to 35, and people still continue to go past, give quite a few tickets. We take a look at that history when we're looking at projects like this, but we're also getting a lot of complaints that they were having a hard time getting out of their subdivisions, particularly during the peak hours with the nearby middle school. So the study recommended for the intersection improvement, doing a roundabout. We're going to go ahead and move into the design on the roundabout, but then we're going to go take a look at seeing how the condition continues to operate. And then if we get a grant, then at some point in the future with that grant, we would go into construction at some point. But it's not with the intent that next year or the year after that we'd be moving into the construction on this. Partly because we do understand that roundabouts are not exactly the most popular topic or type of intersection improvement, particularly on this side of the county at this point. But we do want to put ourselves in the best position to put in an improvement with a government grant, and to have that, or to put ourselves in that best spot, you really need to have the design.
Thank you. Councilman Santiago.
Thank you, Mr. Tad, will the consultants that we just voted on, will they take into consideration the young lady's comments about the proximity of the entrances, I think you said, to the subdivision and those concerns she brought up?
Correct, yes. We would, she'd mentioned one of the more important factors of that location is that there's a bus stop in that area, and we would certainly make sure that we're working with the school board. We don't want a situation where the bus stops creating congestion at that intersection. So we'd work with them to make sure they're stopping, depending on which direction the bus is going, make sure they stop before they enter the roundabout so that they're not backing up the traffic in there. We'd also elongate the median on that side to make sure the traffic on the opposing side doesn't have to stop, and so on and so forth. So yes, we would consider, that's the long answer for yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Vice Chair Reinhardt.
Thank you, Chair. Tab, with that consultant, would the idea about the four-way stop sign be another consideration as well?
We've already taken a look at that in the study, and the recommendation was not to do a four-way stop. I prefer not to put stop conditions on thoroughfare roads. Taylor is a thoroughfare road in that area.
Okay.
And that would not generally how we would like to handle that aspect of it.
Right.
And they did recommend as a part of the study the roundabout over the four-way stop.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't know. Keep it easy.
Extending the thing there's a sidewalk right there, extending it so the median would that affect the sidewalk, or how would that affect that? Have you looked into, because there's no sidewalk on the other side of the street, so there needs to be a sidewalk somewhere.
There would be crosswalks as a part of the roundabout.
Yes, but the sidewalk is part of extending the street. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Yes. All the existing sidewalk paths would be continued.
Okay, thank you.
Alyssa, you are free to go, but I'm going to commend you. You just moved your local government. That's why local government is so important, because we can be responsive to the people. But it took you to stand up here, and as scary as it was, you did a good job. Thank you. Thank you, Ted. Okay. All right. Ms. Halifax area advertising, top that.
Chairman, there was a motion and a second already.
Yes.
And I just wanted to see if my good friend from Deltona is okay.
I am happy with the ladies. Thank you very much for everything you've done this last year.
Thank you for
A
all of
motion
your
and a
support.
second to approve everything she was just going to tell us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did I miss that?
I was talking to you.
Fast. We did it quick. Danny made the motion, I seconded it.
Danny made the motion
I second.
for item 3 for the whole thing, all 3 advertising authorities. Okay.
All of that work is paying off.
And Matt Reinhardt made the second. I wouldn't talk myself out of it if I were. If you cared to say anything, go ahead. But we have a motion to approve and a second.
I'm going to be very quiet because I'm liking the motion and the second. So I know that we've talked to all of you, and if you had any questions, you would let us know.
No, I think we're all pleased. I'm pleased.
Yes.
Anyway, I won't speak for anybody else. Southeast, you're good. Donna or
Georgia,
you here?
Yep.
Okay.
Smiling.
All right. All in favor of the proposed budget for the advertising authority budgets, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And your budget's passed 6-0.
We appreciate your support. Thank you all.
Item 4, fiscal year 25-26 trim rates and budget overview by Ryan Osowski.
Good evening, Council. Ryan Osowski, Chief Financial Officer. Today we're here to set the trim rates. We're midstream in our budget process. If you recall, we've done the capital budget review and 2 sessions of 5-year forecast where we've gone over all of these rates that you're seeing here today, but we have to formally put in the rates to the property appraiser, and we're seeking your approval for those rates to do so. Since we last met with our 5-year forecast review, we did get the final values from the property appraiser, and as always, they don't change by much from the preliminary values once they give them in June 1st. But If you notice some slight difference in the numbers, it's going to be related to those values. The recommended budget was put in your Dropbox earlier today. It's also been recently published to the website. The operating budget and the non-operating budgets are the amounts that are listed on the screen there. I'm not going to read them out. The non-operating budget, just as a reminder, especially for any articles that may be written about this, the non-operating budget is primarily, and I mean almost 100%, it's like 99% funded by transfers from the operating budget. So that means if you add those two together, you really are double counting a lot of things. Got a pie chart here of where our operating revenues come from. The biggest thing that I'll point out is that while ad valorem property taxes are a big component of our budget, especially in the general fund, which covers a lot of your public safety areas, the biggest piece of this pie chart is actually your appropriated fund balance. And what is that again? That is the amount you're carrying forward from last year. In the county budget statutes, we don't just appropriate what we need to balance the budget, we have to appropriate our entire estimate of any savings from FY25 into the FY26 budget. I'll relate that to this slide here with the operating expenditures of the total reserves. The total reserves are the amounts that we currently estimate that will continue on from FY26 into FY27. The difference between the $538 million and the $395 million here are the amounts of appropriated fund balance that we're estimating to use in this budget, primarily on capital projects. Pie chart here of our taxable value by property class, noting that we are still primarily a residential county. The ad valorem tax revenue by fund, the general fund makes up about half of your taxes across the county. The law enforcement fund about a quarter of that, and the rest of the funds are the remaining quarter. Some highlights, just a reminder on the general fund. It's the only fund that I'm going to do this on for the highlights because it is the largest fund. It is the county-wide fund with the highest tax rate. We are recommending maintaining a flat millage rate with no increase from the current year. It's primarily due to significant revenue challenges. If you recall, we have a decrease in our sales tax funding from the state, state revenue sharing from the state, constitutional officer excess fee decrease, primarily the tax collector's office expansions, and then the additional transfer that we need related to the beach parking. We also have mandated expenditure increases, but notably, the highlight that I like to make on this budget is, as you saw in the 5-year forecast, the areas that the county council truly has influence over with George's leadership, George's county department budgets, those have actually decreased by $1.6 million. And that means that they also had to overcome, in order to get to that decreased position, $4.2 million in wage and benefit increases, which includes your health insurance contributions, because health insurance is constantly increasing, our retirement contribution increase, as well as a budgeted amount of 4% for salary increases. Our millage rate history chart, we cover this every year, where you can see all the green rows are where a fund was at rollback in that year. The pink or orange rows are partial rollback, and then there's that one row where ECHO was put at 0 for 1 year, which was obviously significantly below rollback. The tentative millage rates for the trim notices are what's shown on this screen here. They are all the rates that you saw in the 5-year forecast, including the vote that was taken on the fire rescue district at a rollback rate. As a reminder, these rates at this point, once we lock them in with the property appraiser, they can only go down from here. They cannot go up. So if you had any thought on any fund of not doing rollback, you would have to make that choice now. In the next part of the process, we'll be setting our actual budget hearings. That's where we, by statute, through the trim process, we have to go have the public hearings for the budget to adopt a tentative budget and then a final budget. They cannot be held on the same day as the school board's hearing, which was September 9th, which is why we ended up with the council meeting on Thursday, September 4th. And that's because of the timing of trim. You cannot have it, it's not enough days to have it on Tuesday, September 2nd. We've got our recommended dates listed here, which were already the council scheduled dates. There is something that I would point out to you for council consideration. We've got them listed at 6 p.m. I do remember vaguely some discussion last year, especially for the day meeting one, considering council's 6-hour time limit, that if you wanted to have a smaller gap in between, by law, we could set it at 5:01. We've traditionally done 6 o'clock, so that's what we've got left here, but if there was any desire by council, it could be at 5:01. And I'll leave the rates up on the screen, and I'll take any questions. I need a vote on the rate and the times.
Okay. Vice Chair Reinhardt.
I'm going to yield to Mr. Robbins, and I think might be discussing the same thing. I'm not sure, but I'll yield to Mr. Robbins first, if that's okay. Chair.
Councilman Robbins.
Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt, for that. Council, we have a couple things in front of us. One of them that I know I've prided myself in here, as well as council and past councils, is our fire. And I'm committed to them to help them out wherever possible. Just from observation, being here the last 4 or 5 years, we've approved increases in other first responder areas without blinking an eye, some of them double digits. In years past, we've held kind of law enforcement and fire, EMS, across the boards, almost harmless chairs, you remember, each year, and agree to fully fund them. I don't think what they're asking for is over the top, given that and looking at the projects that are still pending. And at the end of the day, they're asking for it to stay the same as last year, so that they can make some necessary upgrades throughout the county that will only benefit our residents, each and every one of them. So they go to bat for us. I'm going to support the fire services and make a motion to keep their millage a flat rate.
Second.
Yeah. Slung, it's out.
Okay, Councilman Robbins makes a motion to keep the fire fund at flat rate instead of rollback. The second was by Matt Reinhardt.
Just had a comment for the if you're done.
Go ahead. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. And I agree. Something that came up, I've given this a lot of thought since the last meeting, and not by any particular one source that brought it to my attention, but I have never, in the 2 years, it's not like it's a long time, but 2.5 years, have I ever received emails from the public asking us for higher taxes in a certain area. I know people, prior councils experienced that with ECHO and with Forever, asking to tax themselves. But I've actually received no negative about this, just the simple fact of, one of them brought a particular attention. They said, listen, we have a lot of infrastructure needs. And the way we veer infrastructure is usually by roads and stormwater and things of that nature. But infrastructure also has to do with what services we provide to our community. And with fire and the job that they do in the public protection, I didn't want to be the one to take away from that. Not that it will, but I'm just saying I want to give them the resources at all possible, like to piggyback on what Mr. Robbins had said. So there are a lot of things that, a lot of building that's going up around us. And we have those mutual agreements with certain cities where the county does assist them, and I don't want to be shortchanging them. So I'm with Mr. Robbins. That's why I seconded the motion.
Thank you. Danny, you're right. I think for the 4 years that we were here, we fought for increase in all public safety items, especially fire. Went from 2 people to 3 people per station. And so when I saw this, it concerned me, and I've had a lot of discussion with staff about it. Are there any anything on the future that we cannot fund if we stayed at rollback?
Through the budget that's been submitted through the division, up through the chain, the entire budget is fundable right now with the rollback rate as was presented in the 5-year forecast.
I know we're looking for land for a new station on Highway 40. If we find land, can we do that?
The fund also has significant reserves that could be tapped into if there wasn't enough that was included already in the budget for any projects that are already on the books.
So in your opinion, going to rollback doesn't hurt fire services?
That is a subjective opinion.
It is.
If you were to go to a flat millage rate, it would provide additional funding for capital projects. The capital projects that have submitted are funded already in this project. You could do more. I mean,
if they were submitted.
If you give more money to any operation, there's always more that could be done.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Councilman Santiago.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, in light of why we're here today is basically to set that trim rate for the legally required notice. We can certainly, whatever that rate is, we can go down from there, right? So, Danny, I'll support your motion. I don't have no problem with it. I know I made the motion last time to go to the rollback based on the conversation that was happening at the time. I have no problem going to the other number. However, as we go into the budget, let's have those discussions on what we want to fund, and then make that budget accordingly. If it takes up the entire amount based on guidance that we give, then it does. If it doesn't take the entire amount, I think we owe it to our constituents to adjust accordingly, based on what projects we feel that we want to fund, capital or whatever improvements there are to our fire services. So I'm game to support what they have, and then our leadership team to present maybe other options for us to, on a priority level, to see how much of that additional do we do need. Does that make sense? And make financial decisions based on the budget discussions.
Like I said, you can't go up from here, so you can go down.
Councilman Dempsey.
Danny, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, they're a wonderful group of guys and women, and they do a lot for the community. But I want to stick with rollback. I know I've said it before, and I don't mean to sound like a doom and gloomer, but I think we're on the cusp of another recession. I think our taxpayers are going to be hit with a rough economy over the next couple of years. And I don't think it's asking too much of anybody to cut their budget 5.5%. I know during COVID, private industry was hemorrhaging. I mean, I had to make more than 5% cuts in my businesses and stuff. But so asking them to cut 5.5%, I don't think is a big ask, especially we got Sunrail coming in. We got all these other variables, and our goal is to lower taxes, not only keep it the same, but lower it. And they're wonderful guys. They deserve all the respect in the world, but I don't think asking them to cut their budget by 5.6% or so is a big ask. So I'm just going to ask that we keep it at rollback like we all discussed before.
If I may.
You may.
The change you see here is the reduction in the percentage tax rate goes down. But as a refresher, what rollback is. Rollback collects the same revenue as it did last year with the addition of new construction. It has no impact on any individual taxpayer. The same rate is applied everywhere. So sometimes you may get emails about, I bought this house and then a year later the taxes went up 3 times. That's not because we went to rollback or not. That's because the value changed. Rollback is an entity-wide, and in this case the entity is the fund calculation that keeps revenues the same with the addition of new construction. So this rollback rate is not a 5% cut. It is the same revenues plus a little bit more for new construction. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it's probably around 2%, maybe a little less of increased collection of revenues over last year. Not a cut.
Okay.
Okay, Councilman Robbins, thank you for that.
Thank you, Chair. And Don, I understand what you're saying, but this is more for that future planning, that unknown inflation. I don't know how much this accounts for, cost of goods, cost of engines, updating this stuff. I still have fire stations down in southeast Volusia that are in tin buildings, and also I have a lot of guys and gals that are in mobile units out in the alongside their station. George, what are they called? I'm drawing a blank.
Modular units.
Modular units. So, there's definitely a need there. I cross-referenced a lot of the stuff as well that was sent to us in the last few weeks. But, I don't mean to also, Don, put you on the spot, but if everybody can afford a 5% decrease, we didn't have this discussion about the sheriff's office. We didn't have this discussion about any other first responder entity. So, I stand firm on kind of drawing the line here and funding them at the same level in preparation for a possible fallout like you had mentioned here, to make sure that we can continue to fund their needs properly, or the citizens' needs properly as time progresses here. So appreciate it. Thanks.
Councilman Kent.
Thank you, Chairman. I appreciate the discussion we're having on this today, and I appreciate I believe the union coming in and giving their take on it. I always support first responders, but Don, I'll tell you, I heard staff say that if we went to the rollback rate, that we had enough money to fund everything that we needed to fund. There's money in reserves for buildings. So why in the world would a conservative like myself put more of a tax burden on our residents when I just heard staff say that we have enough to fund what we need to fund? So I'm with you on that. I can't support that at this time, because I don't think it's financially the prudent thing to do. I agree with you.
Okay, my last comment. I agree with Troy and with you, not looking at a percentage, but as a fire service is critically important, and I would never even entertain it if what Troy just said wasn't true, and has been verified by our staff through the last 2 weeks of discussion, that there's plenty of funding there. We're not hurting them. I have to balance that with what I hear from residents in our community all the time, that oftentimes it's not fair or true, but it goes like this. I can't afford to live in Volusia County anymore and pay my mortgage, pay the taxes, and pay the school board, and pay for insurance on my home. All those things are true. So we have a chance to, we're not proposing a big tax cut here. We're trying to hold the line and not raise taxes on everybody. So I'm with you. We may be looking at a tie vote here. I don't know, but David Santiago.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if you recall, at the last council meeting, I made the motion to give the lower rate. But I've changed my position, mainly because I want to afford the opportunity to have the discussion to see what other potential capital improvement projects may be beneficial to do, let's say earlier. I'll just use that, lack of a better term, what makes sense. But remember, folks, this is not our final decision on this. So giving any one of my colleagues here the opportunity to make their case, Danny, Matt, whoever, county staff, whoever is, our rank and file, make the case as to why we should expend additional monies, and then adjust that number accordingly. It may go back to rollback. Maybe there isn't a case made, but I think today we afford, I'm voting for it because y'all are asking for it, y'all are asking for that opportunity, and I'll support that opportunity. With a good case made, then maybe accordingly we will act. What that number is at the end of the day, I do not know today, but I think we should afford any one of our colleagues the opportunity today to make that case And then when it comes to that final vote, then we make it final for whatever it is. So that's why I'm supportive of the motion.
Councilman Kent.
Thank you, Chairman. My last bite at this to try to sway my friend from Deltona here. You make a good point and a really great argument, and I don't think Danny's wrong in his assessment either, or Matt. But when I hear staff say, we have all the funding we need for what has already been asked for, like, that was key for me. So staff answered the question that they have the funding needed, and there's no new major buildings that I know of, George, that they need, that we're not funding, we don't have the money for. And unless I hear differently, then I'm okay with the change that we talked about, you know, going to rollback.
We have a capital plan to replace several of the stations and upgrade others. There are, I think, 20 fire stations, so people need to remember when we're saying that it's not just one or two like a city, it's 20 of them. So at the end of the day, they have a plan. We're following that plan. If you chose to add or stay at the same rate, we would look at that plan based on what Santiago said. Well, is there more you want to add to that plan? But the plan that's been proposed by the fire chief and his team is fully funded.
Yeah, and that's another thing is that I have huge respect for Mr. King, our fire chief, and if he's giving you that plan and we're funding that plan, then I feel like we're good to go. And council, you know, I'll just, of course, speak for myself here. My role, I have to remind myself from time to time, I must provide basic services for our county residents. I must make sure that they have police protection, that they have fire protection, that they have public works, that they have roads they can travel on, that they have clean drinking water. And recreation's a nice piece to add after that. But after that, it's my job to keep the taxpayers' money in the taxpayers' pocket. That's my job. And I heard that we're going to be able to be funded and we're good to go. So that's why I'm okay where we are and keeping that taxpayer money in their pocket. And I hear what you're saying, David. We could still do that in September when this comes back before us. But I trust our fire chief. He's already talked to George, and they've had that discussion, and they've created the budget, and we got Ryan here giving us the good numbers, and I think we're good to go on it. That's just me. Thanks.
Yeah, I thought everything just moved.
No, I just have one more thing.
Vice Chair Reinhardt.
Thank you, Chair. And I respect that, Mr. Kent. I do. David, I appreciate the fact that you wanted to support us because it's important to us, so it's important to you. Sorry to use those words, but it is true. And it gives us a chance later down the road to look at it deeper because you just said it. We can't go higher in the future if there is a need that we identify when we go to look at the budget more in depth. We can't go up now, but we can go down. So that's what I'm keeping in mind, is it gives us a little more time to dive deep into that part of the budget. If we identify it, I may be that one that says, you know what, you're right, we can go down. But I can't come back later and say, you know what, you're right, we should have gone up. So that's all I'm saying.
Councilman Santiago.
Okay, I promise last bite. Everything you said, I agree with, Troy. I think that... No, you did good. But there's one part I think that I should bring more light to that might be able to help you. Is that, yes, the fire chief certainly presented a plan to George Reckenwall, but I'd be willing to bet that that plan was designed around a number. And the number, because we gave some guidance as to where we wanted the tax rates to be and what our motives were going into this session. So he's going to make that recommendation based on the guidance that he gets. 98% of the times I'll say that that's what happens. Right, so, and I'm not saying, I'm sure he presented the best he had based on the dollars he felt that he had to propose a budget for to fit in the slot based on our commentary. So I don't know what those items are that may on that list or did not make it on that list. Sorry, I said that wrong, right? But now that we've opened the dialogue, I'd be willing to hear what other items might be on that list. And I was going to make a little bit of funny because if you know me, maybe that item is a fire station in Ormond Beach. It doesn't really benefit my district, right? Or, extra lifeguards. I'm being funny now in, the northern side of our beach. But if I don't hear about it, I can't vote on it or make changes for it. So that's why this is not the end of the discussion on what that number is. I may still roll for rollback, but I think the minimum is let's give them the opportunity to make the case, and then we stand wherever we can. But the budget was made to fit a number, Troy. That's my opinion.
Right. Chairman, may I respond briefly to him?
Yes.
Thank you. David, I'll just say this. You said if you were a gambling man, I just wanted you to know I quit gambling. You want to bet? Thanks, Don. That being said, I have an unfair advantage, and I know it's unfair. That is, I worked with Joe King in Ormond Beach, and he is the type of man, the type of leader who he's not just going to give George a set of numbers to fit inside of a box. He's going to tell George exactly what he needs, and that's unfair because I worked with him in Ormond and I knew him from there. So that's all I say to that. But great points.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I agree with you, Troy. Chief King, I want you to know, Matt said this is important to him, to Danny, and to Santiago. It's important to every one of us up here. This is a core government responsibility, and it's important to all of us. There's a tension here, though, with how do we fund things, and how are we responsible to taxpayers who look at taxes. They believe their taxes are going up every year. I've worked for a couple months now just bugging George and Ryan about the budget, and where we can cut. And they have worked incredibly hard in a year when everything has gone up. 2 years in a row now, everything. We still have potentially more bad news coming on Sunrail. It's been a tough year, and they've turned in a budget that that was reduced more than I thought was possible, but they didn't do it carelessly. And I was really careful, and it sounds like other members, probably all of the members of this council, had discussions with staff. I wanted to make sure that the fire fund was not in any danger if we went to rollback. We have been really good stewards of the money there. That's the only reason that we're in this position. Ryan, I wanted to ask you one question to make sure that what David's saying is true. You said this is our last chance for rollback or not. If we bump this up to a flat, can we still go to rollback in the future?
You can only go down from here. You cannot go up.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, if you were to set it at a flat rate, you could go back to rollback still. If you set it at rollback now, you cannot go back to flat.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Robbins.
Thank you, Chair. Ryan, this might be a question for you. It may be a question for County Manager or Fire. What would be the recourse, for instance, Station 22 delay? By going to rollback, delays it by approximately 6 years with increased costs of $3 to $4 million a year, nearly equivalent to the projected rollback savings. Is that an accurate statement, yes or no?
I'm not familiar with that, the individual capital projects in the fire fund right now.
County Manager, do we have any insight on that?
I'll start, Mr. Robbins, and invite
Aaron
Van Cleek to come down, the director. I think what you were referencing is that the reconstruction of Station 22 has been delayed 6 years in the past. It had to do with not financial, but other constraining site improvements like the extension of water service in that part of Oak Hill. it is fully funded and scheduled to proceed under the current budget as proposed.
Right, we could not expand it without the water, so you had to wait for the water. And then that's the Oak Hill Station, if that's the issue there. But the money's been there for that project and for other projects, but that has not been the issue, not money.
What, in your professional opinion, would be the hang up or delay on getting some of these projects knocked out? Is it lack of property? Is it lack of
Well, in the
funds,
case,
lack of
in one case, I mean, they've had the money for stuff up on 40 for 4 or 5 years in their budget. It has been about fire leadership finding a suitable spot. I believe they invested in some software to help pinpoint exactly, because one thing about fire, once you put down the station, that's where you're going to be. So it's very important that they pick the station in the right location. And it's a dynamic situation because you have cities that are expanding and annexing, so they're taking on more area. And then where do we go? What's the best spot for us to locate a fire station? I will point out you got Station 15, which is going to be a main station out there on US 92. That has been designed and it's going to bid here, I think, in October. That'll be a very large station for us. So that's coming on. That'll be a brand new station. And then you've got others, like I say, that are in various states of being upgraded. And it's certainly my intent, I mean, to pick these off and go along and get them upgraded. I don't want to have metal buildings for our firemen. I want them to be improved. That's something I've talked to them about. But, you know, the other side of that coin, and I think that's what we were trying to point out, is, well, we only have the capacity to build so many in any given year.
Sure.
So I only have so many construction managers. We only have some, you know, we have to get them designed. It's similar to this flood situation. You can only get so much out in any given year based on a certain capacity. And that's all we're saying is look, based on the pace that has been submitted to us by the fire leadership, we're on pace and we're able, as a matter of fact, you can put up the 5-year forecast and show you not only this year, but moving forward, you know, the revenue's there for them to continue their building program if you were to set it at rollback. If you go, like I say, if you decide not to set it at rollback, then that'll put a little bit more money into the building program. So possibly you pick up some speed to that, assuming we, again, have the ability, the capacity to actually build the building. We have the land to put it on. You have the design to do it. But that's all. You know, usually these things are about a year and a half to design and permit, and then a year or so to build it. So that's what you're looking at for fire stations.
Thank you, County Manager, but just a quick point. At that pace, 4 to 5 years, you know, for instance, a project and finding land, for instance, in the best of your knowledge, does land increase or decrease over time? Does it get more value?
Certainly it increases. So there's certainly, you know, but we have land we're sitting on out on State Road 44 that's designated for a fire station. You've got, so I mean, yes, but overall, there's definitely value in, you know, how long do you want to wait? And you're going to increase, all of our costs have increased, not just the land, but all construction costs have gone up. So that's definitely a consideration for this and for all the things we do, like roads and, you know, other projects.
And I say that, guys, is because they don't make land anymore. And another thing, too, the value of the dollar keeps getting less and less and less. Equipment keeps getting more and more and more. But trying to find a way here, and to piggyback off of Mr. Kent, which I agree with Mr. Brower, Kent, and Mr. Dempsey, traditionally, but we're not talking about an increase here from last year per se. And I know we've talked about it before where we don't want to make, or would rather make, not even in this case, we're keeping it flat, but we don't want to have to come back at some point 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road and hit with a major increase in fire. So would it behoove us, to take the ideology or methods of some of my colleagues to possibly keep it flat, and instead of coming back and hitting our taxpayers with a higher rate that's maybe not justified when there's a possibly declining economy or recession by Mr. Dempsey's standards, which I agree with, in the near future. That's my argument, and I'm out of turns.
Councilman Santiago.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the trim notice at the recommended staff levels with the exception of the fire services to maintain for the initial notice of 3.8412. Isn't that what you need? Did I say it right? To have that?
He's making a motion.
I didn't know we had a
believe
motion. Oh, we missed that.
Did you make a motion?
I don't remember, but I think there was another motion.
My notes reflect that Mr. Robbins made a motion and it was seconded. by
Okay,
Mr.
then I have a
Ryan.
different motion. I call a question. Where to stalemate here?
Okay, your motion was to approve except for fire fund to go flat rate. And Matt seconded that. Okay. Same motion, only by a different person. And for discussion, Don Dempsey.
George, thank you for the explanation, and Ryan. And Danny, I agree with you too, but I also agree with Troy and Jeff, the chair, because we're fully funded now. We're going to be okay for the next 5 years. We got to get in this mindset of rollback. We can't, it's easier to raise taxes than maybe, I guess, to lower taxes here. But, I mean, we need to get in this mindset. We don't have to always do knock down, tear down, rebuilds and stuff. We need to learn to not always have the best of the best for all the buildings and stuff like that. If we can get by and complete all our plans with what we've got and rollback, I'm all in favor of rollback. And no disrespect to fire services, they're wonderful, but these other funds, I mean, they're also important, and we're asking them to deal with the same reductions. And it's just, I don't think a 5% reduction is that big. And I'd like to stick with the rollback. So that's all.
Okay, thank you. Did you have something else?
We were conferring, we believe the motion that's on the floor was only about the fire fund right now.
Yes.
Not the rest of the rates.
Okay. Okay. It's unfortunate that we have 6 people here instead of 7, because in the case of a tie, county attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, but if there's a tie, the motion's lost because it's not a majority.
Right. Ms. Conchin did offer to vote if you would like.
I would like to hear her vote, actually. Okay. No other discussion? Okay, the motion on the floor is just on the fire fund to move it to a flat rate instead of rollback.
Can we table it? Well, we have to do it today, don't we?
The statutory deadline is 35 days after I think it's 35. It's August 4th. I think it's 35 days after July 1st.
Okay. All right.
I'm mixing two things. I heard a confusion behind me. So the statutory date to provide the property appraiser with what your tentative trim rates is 35 days from the date that the property value was certified, which is July 1st. That makes that August 4th. This is our only meeting before then.
Gotcha.
Am I hearing that you wanted to pull the motion?
No.
Okay.
I think we got ourselves an okay corral here.
Okay. All right. Everybody knows the motion, just on the fire fund, to move it from rollback to flat rate, all in, Carissa, you better call the roll.
Mr. Dempsey.
No.
Mr. Kent.
No.
Mr. Reinhardt.
Yes.
Mr. Robbins.
Yes.
Mr. Santiago.
Yes.
Mr. Brower.
No, and so it is a tie, 3-3, which means the motion, in this case, fails.
Fails.
So it's still at rollback.
No. We still have to take action.
Nothing has been adopted,
Okay.
I believe.
Currently, it's still a rollback, just the fire fund.
Currently, the recommended millage rate is what was submitted.
Okay.
Chairman,
Councilman Robbins.
may I say something? So when we take a vote and it's probably a stalemate again at 3-3, what happens? What happens at the fire fund? Because I got a whole bunch of time. I'm good till Friday. I'll sit here for the next 5 days.
Well, we have a 6-hour time limit, so we can't do that.
You would need a special meeting prior to August 4th, Mr. Osowski. Was the deadline?
Prior to August 4th.
When does Mr. Johansson come back?
Pardon?
When does Mr. Johansson come back? We'll make this his fault.
Carissa, do you know that? All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Don might be gone then, though. Yes, David Santiago.
I move to approve the remaining millage rate items as recommended by staff with the exception of fire services.
Second.
At least we can get that one done. The
What does
others.
that mean?
That means the others we're adopting.
The other 9 millage rates.
Yeah.
Fire
Except for
service is still
fire.
out because we haven't decided.
We just decided. The motion failed.
Mr.
we still gotta take
Johansson
action.
returns on the 29th.
Okay, did you hear that? Jake returns the 29th.
Mr. Santiago.
The motion is to approve all the other millage rates as stated.
You seconded that, Troy? Danny seconded?
And David Santiago makes that motion. Danny Robbins made the second on that one. I'm running out of space. Councilman Robbins.
Thank you, Chairman. County Attorney, how would we go about, if we adopt this minus the fire, to set a special meeting upon Mr. Johansson's return to Volusia County, but before the 30-some-odd day deadline, which is the 4th? What would we need to do? What kind of notice do we need to prepare?
Ryan, what kind of notice in your world would you need for the budget?
This is not a budget hearing. The trim statute set the rules on notice for the budget hearing. This is a regular agenda item for all intents and purposes.
Okay.
So would we have a
48 hours?
48 hours.
County Attorney, what date would we need to have would you call it a special meeting for that one vote?
By August 4th. We could publish we won't be able to publish in the paper, but we'll be able to release notice of the meeting tomorrow morning.
July 31st, does that work? That's a Thursday.
We'll make it work. It's only fair.
I'm gone. I'll be in Tennessee.
That's okay, we don't need your vote.
Okay.
I'm joking. You're on the opposite side.
Who will be here?
I mean, it could be the same outcome, but would have Mr. Johansson. It's not saying that he'd go one way or the other. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows, but we may end up right exactly where we are, but it's still going to be a 3-3. So again, the fund can always go down, but I'm prepared to make a motion to have find a date here for a special meeting in accordance with whatever the statute states and within the timeline that we need to make it.
Means we have a window of about 3 or 4 days to do it in. 4 days.
Better get working.
To vote, right? After Jake is back.
Chairman, point of clarification, if I can. So we just voted on the 9 other items. Or did we not vote on that yet?
We have not had that vote. We've had a motion and a second on
Okay,
9.
but we had a vote on the fire services.
Right. The vote was to.
Right, and it was a tie, so it failed.
Yeah.
So why are we having another special meeting? I just don't understand.
We still need another motion, that's why. If the motion is in the the opposite and the vote stays the same, we're at a stalemate. That's what they're saying.
The way I'm looking at it,
Oh, if this next vote, you're talking about the one we haven't had yet?
No, the fire services one. If, let's say we flipped, if there was a motion to go to rollback, assuming, right? We'd still be at a 3-3 failed vote, provided everybody voted the same.
Correct.
And then we're still stuck.
But I don't see it as stuck. We had a vote. It failed. So now let's have a vote on the other 9 items, and that either goes up or down. So if it failed, then
it's rollback.
We're at the rate that it was presented by staff, right?
No.
No?
I think for this, you have to have an affirmative vote.
Mr. Osowski,
Okay. Mr. Dyer, can you jump in on that one?
do you need, the council already voted on this once, gave some direction. Do you need an affirmative vote here?
I just conferred with our former budget director as well. In all of my understanding and his understanding of the statutes and the way that this is set up, this is not the budget hearing. This is not statutes prescribe how you actually do this.
Right.
Statutes just say a rate has to be entered. It doesn't technically have to be approved by council. We've always done that because that is the best thing. So, given that there was a prior vote on a rate, if I don't have something to go off of, that's the only vote I have, right?
Can we get clarification on something there? I don't want to lose, Mr. Chair. You said we don't have to take action, but you'd like for us to take action?
It's always been county practice to have the trim rates set by council. The statutes don't actually dictate who sets a trim rate. It dictates who adopts the budget, who adopts the tentative rate, that's September, who adopts the final budget, and the final rate's also September. Those are the official budget adoptions.
What if we take no action? What happens in the notice?
If you take no action, we still have to enter some sort of rate. I actually have Veronica trying to do some sort of research. What happens if we don't enter a number in the trim system? I think really bad things like you can't levy a tax happens. So we would have to confer with legal, but I can be corrected and it'll probably take additional legal research, but I believe legally we don't have to have a vote of council. We've always done that because that's the right thing to do to seek the guidance of your elected officials. So right now we're at a split vote and staff really doesn't have direction on what to enter as our trim rates other than the previous vote that council took.
It is the right thing to do, and I don't want to see it change tonight. We had a vote on the fire fund. Now we're going to vote on everything else.
So Chairman, so one of us would have to make a motion to go to the rollback rate, and then it would be another probably a tie. So that would fail, and then we would have nothing for them. I'm going to hear what Ryan has to say.
The law doesn't require us to have a majority vote.
There is no law on setting. It really is the budget. What's the legal term? Budget officer that certifies the rate. Okay. And George is the budget officer. I just conferred with the budget officer, and we would enter the full rate because they would give the future council the more flexibility.
What would the full rate be?
The 3.8412. The current rate.
Okay.
Flat rate.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, if I may. If we're stuck, then you default to that.
I do. Yes, that is what we're.
That way we
looking
can
at
go
right now.
down if we choose.
That way we could go down because if you don't enter a rate, I'm pretty sure it gets implied I think there are statutes and rules that do that, like not complying with trim statutes. There's penalties to that, and if you don't enter a rate, it could be bad, as in no taxes levied bad. I'm not 100% certain. So we'd have to enter something, and we would enter the current rate.
The current rate, even though it failed.
Mr. Chair, with that being said, I think the motion that I have in play right now is an acceptable one because we do have some agreed upon rollbacks in there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's vote on those. That way those rollbacks are advertised accordingly. If we are still stuck in fire services, then staff has to do what staff has to do. Well, we could always go down. So I think we should take action on the motion that's on the floor, Mr. Chair.
Okay, you're calling the question, and the motion is the other 9 rates trim rates are accepted as advertised. For discussion, Danny Robbins.
That was old.
Don Dempsey?
Sir.
Is that old? Okay, I'm going to dump it. Chris, would you call the roll, please?
Just clarify the motion once more.
Yes. The motion is for the other 9 funds to be accepted as published. Some are at rollback, some aren't. They're right in front of us. Everything but the fire services fund.
Got it.
Krista?
I think you have a public comment card before I call the vote.
I don't have any comment. Oh. Did you just give me this, David?
No, I didn't. I didn't see it.
Oh, really? We have a public comment by John Nicholson. You have 30 seconds.
Give or take. Yeah, you missed me on 3, and then you missed me on the last vote. Yeah, the public has a right to speak. I don't understand why there's a problem, because if you want the rollback, you can still vote the rollback. It doesn't wipe out the rollback. But if you put the rollback in, it wipes out all your discussion, because you have nothing you can do. Now, you know my feeling on rollback. Bud Asher, 7 years, and we were devastated. 27% tax increase. All right? It's not going to happen to you guys, okay? But that's where I come from. I don't want to be boxed in to where you cannot buy a new police car. You cannot fix a road. You cannot pave a street because there's no money, because you hate rollback. At least give yourself the option, as David said, to discuss these. All right? Because if you go to rollback, you're going to have a 3-3, and it goes to staff. And you really don't want to do that, not after all these years. So go with the high number, and you can always lower it. You can't raise it, but you can always lower it. Thank you.
Krista, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Dempsey,
The other to approve the other 9 funds.
Yes.
Mr. Kent,
Yes.
Mr. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Robbins,
Yes.
Mr. Santiago,
Yes.
Mr. Brower.
Yes. So the other 9 rates are approved unanimously, 6-0. And
If I may,
you may.
one other thing that I think we can get consent on, do you want the 6 p.m. or would you like to potentially revise it, at least for the day meeting, so that you have a smaller gap between the 6-hour limit and the budget hearing?
Oh.
It would be 5:01 officially.
Yeah.
The dates are here for the council meeting days, and it would be 5:01.
September 4th and September 16th.
The law reads must be held after 5, so that's 5:01.
We're here for meetings anyway, and then we have to wait till 6. Now we just have to wait till 5:01. Okay. Have a motion to accept that time?
Motion to change that time to that time.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Reinhardt, second by Councilman Robbins. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
All
What
right,
else?
so we have 9 rates and a potential discussion on a special meeting.
Well, if we could, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So
We're going to have to
council
set it.
can direct it. You need it by August 4th. We can notice it tomorrow morning. You're comfortable with having it done at a special meeting, that particular fund? Okay.
And
Jake isn't back till the 29th, though, right?
yeah, when does Jake get back?
And then Don won't be here. Between that date and the 4th.
So we're still 6.
But worst case, it'll just default back to the county manager, it goes to the flat rate, or we can just have somebody
Say, let's
end
default-
this right now.
Let's
If I-
default it back to the
well,
county
let me,
manager?
if I could just interject, like, I would not put your manager in a position of setting the rate. I mean, you've historically made that decision as the elected representative. So-
Chairman, you all know where I stand on this. It's dangerous to put George in that position. I'm going to make, I was on the winning side of this. I make a motion to reconsider that fire service rate. Is there a second?
Second.
Chairman, you call the question?
Krista, would you call the roll? And your motion is to reconsider the fire services
Yes.
fund only?
Yes.
To keep it at, to move it to flat rate?
Correct.
Okay.
And this way we don't have to have a special meeting. Unless I am moved tremendously, I'm still going to be for rollback, but this takes it off of George's shoulders. I think
Krista,
it's grossly unfair to do
I don't
that.
think you need to call the roll. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. So it passes 4-2.
But now, that was just a motion to reconsider. Now I make a motion to have the fire service rate at the flat rate. Is there a second?
Second.
Chairman, you call the question, please?
All in favor, say aye. I don't think we need a roll call.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. So it's same 4-2. Bill, come back. See what you started, Jeremy? You can't talk to him. Item 5, review of the updated Echo Direct County expenditure. Brad, you're back again.
Yes, sir. So this was included in your packet. It's a recommendation for 9 new projects at 12 sites for $5 million. Again, this is a 5-year plan, so it's a 5-year rolling plan. The descriptions of the projects are in there, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to approve as presented by Vice Chair Reinhardt, and the second comes from David Santiago. For discussion, Councilman Santiago? Okay, any discussion? Okay, the vote is to approve the recommended Echo Direct County expenditures. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that carries 6-0. 5-0. And we'll get his vote when he comes in. Meantime, let's move on to item 6, budget resolution, appropriation of the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Grant for Hurricane Milton Recovery. Donna Butler.
Motion to approve.
Did you say that?
I did.
Motion to approve as presented by Vice Chair Reinhardt. Is there a second?
Second.
To approve item 6. Second was by David Santiago. Do you have any public participation on this one? Okay. Danny, we voted on item 5, 5-0 to approve the updated Echo Direct County expenditures. Are you for or against? So it's 6-0. Okay, we're now on item 6, the budget resolution appropriation of the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Grant. And the motion, $133.5 million. The motion to approve as presented was made by Vice Chair Reinhardt, second by David Santiago. Any discussion, questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6. Well done, Donna. Item 7, resolution awarding non-exclusive commercial solid waste collection and disposal franchise to FCC Environmental Services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Robbins, second by,
Great
was
job,
that
Ben.
you? Pardon?
Great job, Ben.
Second was by Matt. Any discussion? Danny Robbins.
I'm just on there for the next motions for the next 10 items, sir.
Okay. Did you want to talk your way out of this?
I
Okay.
know not to talk.
All in, All in favor of item 7, the non-exclusive rate, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll catch him up when he gets back. Item 8 is also a resolution awarding non-exclusive commercial solid waste collection and disposal franchise to My Dumpster Guy for
Motion to approve.
$24,000.
Second.
Motion to approve by Robbins, second by Vice Chair Reinhardt. Any discussion? Danny Robbins, I'm going to clear you, okay? All in favor, say aye.
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 It's approved 5-0. Item 9, resolution awarding non-exclusive commercial solid waste collection and disposal franchise to SJP Enterprises.
Motion to approve.
Prince and King.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Robbins to approve, second by Matt Reinhardt. Any discussion? Don Dempsey. Oh. Okay. We're voting on item 9, and then we'll back up for 2 for you. Item 9, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that carries 6-0. The previous one, David, item 8,
Aye.
6-0, and the previous one, item 7, FCC.
Wow, you guys are fast. Okay. Aye. I like that.
I think that was it. Okay. 7, 8, 9. Where's my paper? Item 10 is a proposed vacation of a portion of plat with Triangle Estates map. Okay. Okay, pause 1 second. We had public comment on item 8 on My Dumpster Guy. Robert Brown, are you still here? Robert? Okay. Okay, then we're back to item 10. Proposed vacation of a portion of plat with Triangle Estates.
Good evening.
Move to approve.
Second.
That was enough. You convinced me with the good evening.
Motion to approve by David Santiago, second by Danny Robbins. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries 6-0. Item 11 is a proposed vacation of a portion of plat within 3rd addition to Carnell.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Danny Robbins, second by Matt Reinhardt. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 12, another proposed vacation of a portion of a plat of Sanctuary subdivision.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Vice Chair Reinhardt, second by Councilman Robbins. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That vacation is approved, 6-0. Okay, item 13. Rezoning from rural agriculture A2 zoning classification to the transitional agriculture A3 zoning classification located on the north side of West Minnesota Avenue in the Orange City area.
Clay Irvin, Director of Growth and Resource Management. I would also like if the council will allow me to discuss item 14 at the same time since they occur to a similar situation. One is an applicant initiated, the second is a administrative effort. So before you today is a request to rezone properties north of Minnesota in the Orange City area. As you can see by these outlined areas, these are odd-shaped lots that are actually a combination of multiple 25-foot lots that were historically subdivided back in the 1920s. The applicant and owner are requesting a rezoning because, as you can see here, we have kind of a mishmash of zonings out there. There's some higher density with the R6. There is A2, A3, R4 throughout there. They're looking to take the 5-acre parcel and be able to go and create it as a unified piece. There will be a separate request to do a vacation of the platted paper roadway there and be able to utilize it for, at first, a single-family home, and then in the future, potential for subdivision of the property. This explains what the underlying 1925 subdivision plat looks like and what they're trying to accomplish. We are pointing out the two separate applications. Z25002 is addressing those two parcels, or actually three parcels there. Z25007, that piece of land is subject to agenda item 14. It is, I would say, a ghost ownership in that the original owner has not paid any taxes since at least 1999, the records show. But every year there's been tax certificates, so there's no way for the property to escheat to county ownership. And it also makes it difficult because the applicant may want to try and acquire it, but they have to work through everybody who has the tax certificates to be able to acquire it. And as we were looking, we did not want to create a piece of spot zoning on a parcel that is already non-conforming. So this will be able to provide for a uniformity in regards to zoning. It will provide for an opportunity for the owner to be able to come in, aggregate the land, and come forward with a project that would be in compliance with our zoning regulations and would be providing for an opportunity for use of these prior, platted lots that were sitting relatively dormant. This went forward to your Planning and Land Development Regulation Commission. There was public participation going back to the property that is at the corner, northwest corner. It's kind of L-shaped over there. That owner was concerned about impacts on wildlife, vegetation, and the overall area. She spoke through an attorney who identified some concerns because her existing home is 10 feet from the property line where it's at, where it shares with this property. I will allow the applicant to address what's going on there, but there was an indication that they would be willing to work with that person for a land swap to address some of their concerns with the separation. In regards to the environmental issues and concerns, development of these properties would require a review for gopher tortoise, would require review of historic and specimen trees, wetlands, those types of things. So we're confident that if there is any critical habitat or anything of that nature, it would be addressed through the development process. So after everything was said and done, your Planning and Land Development Regulation Commission recommended to approve the property for the rezoning from A2 to A3 on this property and the administrative rezoning that accompanies it with agenda item 14. The property owner and applicant are here, and we will hear from them right now. This is...
Motion to approve.
Also, this requires it's ex parte communication.
No, it's just the public state of the... Clay, can I first say how good-looking all these guys are?
I take my motion back.
Joking. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is my daughter's property. She intends to divide it, hopefully in the future, to maybe 2 or 3 to make it pretty much a family compound. I will be conflicting on the vote, so I will not be voting on this topic. As it pertains to what Clay mentioned with the neighbor, with the house, her name is Gretchen. We've been communicating with her. We intend to try to find a way to work with her to kind of give her a little bit more separation to do a land swap. That's our plan. But we're going through this process first because it's so cumbersome. But hopefully with her attorney, we'll be able to do some type of land swap and give her some more buffer. That's the plan, at least, if we can come to an agreement. Thank you. I'll answer any questions if there are any.
Chairman, I got about 15.
Did you have any? Okay. I have one. We vote to do this all the time, to allow somebody to build a home in an area that was platted in a way that the law doesn't agree with now. So I don't have a problem with that. What I worry about, is it essential to you for this vote to allow it to be subdivided? That would be my concern, because the neighbors in the area are concerned about, it's a rural area, about packing as many houses in as possible. I can vote for your daughter to build a house there. I'm concerned with future subdivision?
Sure. I mean, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's a good question. I think that the intent is probably to split it into two. That's currently the intent, which would probably make it 2.5 acres, a little bit over 2.5 acres each, which complies very easily with what the neighboring community is. Across the street, I think there are like 80 by 125 lots. I may be wrong, but we don't intend to do that. It's going to be acreage, and then I know you're a big fan of maintaining, 1+ acres or higher. It'll certainly be within that realm easily. No, several houses in there.
Okay.
And I'll second Mr. Robbins' motion.
I think Danny Robbins made a motion to approve before anybody ever spoke. And Matt, you waited and made the second. Any other?
This is quasi judicial. I'll just say I've had no ex parte communication.
Yeah. Neither have I. Did Don say no? No, I haven't. Okay. All right. I don't see any discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries 5-0. That also,
We need a separate vote for agenda item 14 because that is a administrative rezoning of that small parcel.
Motion to approve 14.
And second.
motion to approve 14 by Mr. Kent. And the second was by Vice Chair Reinhardt.
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. See, wait a second. I want to make sure we're.
Santiago Ranch.
Item 15 is a rezoning from rural agriculture A2 zoning classification to the transitional agriculture A3 zoning classification for North Tomoka Drive in DeLeon Springs off of Highway 11, correct?
Mr. Chair, real quick, just to interject, sorry, just for item 14 for the record, that Mr. Santiago also recused himself on that item. I don't know if that was mentioned in 13. I didn't hear if it was.
Okay, yeah, the vote was 5-0. He didn't vote. Barely looked at us. Okay, item 15.
Good evening, Clay Irvin, Director of Growth and Resource Management. Again, this is a similar type of application in that we have a property owner who is seeking to take an odd-shaped piece of land and be able to divide it so that he can create two separate lots. The current zone is A2 and it requires a minimum of 5 acres. He's looking to go to the A3 zoning with his intention of just splitting it into 2 lots. So it basically you would be seeing a parcel that's 2.81 acres and another parcel at 2.69. This also went to your Planning and Land Development Regulation Commission with a recommendation of approval from your staff. There was no public comment, and so therefore it is going to you with a recommendation of approval unanimous from the PLDRC. If there's any questions, we'll be glad to answer.
And it's also quasi-judicial. Is there any ex parte to declare? Anybody? No. Councilman Robbins?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve this change. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Reinhardt. Any discussion? Danny Robbins? No. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 16, rezoning from the light industrial and general commercial zoning classifications to the transitional agriculture. Why can't we get more of these?
I heard that.
Zoning located at 2110 North US Highway 17, Seville.
Good evening, Clay Irvin, Director of Growth and Resource Management. This is addressing an issue where we had an existing single-family home on this property and it was zoned for industrial development. The owner of the home and property would like to continue to utilize it for a single-family home and do some improvements and expansion to it. Unfortunately, because it is a use that's not allowed in that zoning, it's considered a non-conforming use and it cannot be expanded. This will address that issue and allow for the property owner to continue to use the home as a single family and be able to get permits and expand it and be able to operate it until he feels that he needs to. So again, this went to your Planning and Land Development Regulation Commission with a recommendation of approval from staff. It's coming to you with a unanimous recommendation. There was no public comment on it. And this will address the property owner's inability to update and expand his existing single-family
Motion to
home.
approve.
Second. No ex parte for me.
Motion to approve by Robbins, second by, who was the second by?
Kent.
Kent, and no ex parte from anyone? Okay, myself included. Since there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it's approved 6-0. Item 17 is a special exception for a mini warehouse on general commercial B4 zone property between South High Street, Gale Drive, and SR 15 in DeLand. And I think a representative of the owner is here. Go ahead, Clay Urban.
Clay Urban, Director of Growth and Resource Management. The subject property being zoned before the type of use, which is a self-storage facility, requires approval of a special exception. There are specific criteria that they have to follow. They're established in your zoning ordinance. An application was submitted, including a conceptual site plan that is included in your packet. Here it gives you an idea of what's going on. We have a 3-story building that would be utilized for self-storage. Additionally, there would be outside storage for vehicles and RVs as well. It went forward with a recommendation of approval to your Planning and Land Development Regulation Commission. This is call it a revamp. There was previously a similar special exception approved for this property that unfortunately lapsed. So they're coming back, doing some modifications, and it is a little bit more intensive than the previous one, but it complies with all of your requirements that you have in your zoning ordinance and land development regulations, as we can see. This is a special exception. Once this is approved, they would then have to process a final site plan in order to actually begin development on the site. Again, it's coming forward to you with a recommendation of approval from your Planning and Land Development Regulation Commission without any comments, and if there's any questions for staff, we're available. And the applicant's representatives are here as well.
I have one question for you, but this is a quasi-judicial hearing. Does anybody have any ex parte to declare?
None.
No.
No, neither do I. I'm just curious, is it the same owner that lapsed, or is this a different owner?
Different owner.
You think it's different? Okay.
Again, the property owner and the actual developer, maybe they're going to be separate people. So what has happened is you may have a continuous landowner, but whoever's the contract purchaser wanting to do may be different.
Chairman, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Troy Kent and the second by Councilman Santiago. Any other questions? Michael, it doesn't look like you're going to get to speak. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And another mini warehouse is approved. Item 18 is a special, we already disposed of 18, and 19 is postponed to August 5th. That brings us to item 20, we need one person appointed to the Health Planning Council of Northeast Florida. And Carissa, I understand any council person can make that nomination. I have two that I could make, but I'll defer to the rest of the council if anyone has a person they'd like to recommend. Any, just looking through, I see a person that has health background, Felucia Ogan Fedidama?
I do want to also bring something to your attention. So this came to council on March 4th of 25, and Miss Sarah Buddy was appointed, and she decided that she didn't want to be appointed to this board after researching, I guess, what it entailed. Previous to that, Mr. Matthew Romnick did serve on the board, and then you do have 3 additional individuals who applied as well.
So you're telling us we need 2 appointments?
You need 1 appointment.
Oh. Okay. Don Dempsey.
I know Matt Romnick's a well-respected attorney over on the east side, so he, not as much as me. He's a good guy. I would recommend him.
An attorney?
Yes.
Well respected?
Well, I know, it's comparatively speaking, I mean,
Does he?
less loathable than others, yeah.
All right.
That's a different chart. You use a different chart for that, for the classification of attorneys.
Now, he looked good. Felucia looked good. Arthur Burns, I know, and he looks good. But I already said I would defer to somebody else. So, what is the name?
Second. Second.
Matt Romanek is.
That's a motion, right? Yep. Yeah. Was that a motion? I'll second it.
Yep.
Okay, second.
Motion for Matt Romanek by Don Dempsey, second by David Santiago. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Matt Romanek is appointed to the Health Planning Council. All right. Do we have public participation? Let me ask the council, it's been a long time here. Does anybody need a break? We could take go through it? Okay. We have one person for public comment, John Nicholson.
I can still hear you, John. You've already heard it already anyway. John Nicholson, Daytona Beach side. I don't know if any of you have been on A1A lately. It is a mess. They talked about these chicanes, that everybody would love them. Nobody does. Not a single person I've talked to anywhere likes this wavy thing. And they don't like the idea that you got a car coming this way and a car coming this way, and they have to curve to face each other with no dividing empty space so they can hit each other. It is really not good. Now, the landscaped ISB, terrible landscaping. It would be great in Canada, not bad in Alaska. For a beach, it's horrible. It is just not a beach landscaping. So then the beach approaches. ISB is done. Not a single plant, not a tree, nothing living on that approach. All right? It is the second approach that we have. You put one at the far north where Bel Air Plaza is, all cement. All these sand dunes were replaced with cement. Within 6 months, the metal started rusting, the plants died, so it's just cement. Now you're going to go into Silver Beach and repeat it all over again. So the county is either deliberately or inadvertently creating a horrible tourist, and tourism is our main industry. They expect it to be attractive, and we are not making it attractive. We are not making it safe. So I'm asking you to pay attention, because I've had at least 6 people say, well, I wish I had known. Well, I did let you know. I don't know if we're going to get those bollards, but they're supposed to come in on her plan for A1A. 120 bollards, those are those metal poles in the ground at every intersection for 7 intersections where everybody travels. And you know there's not enough space anyway. It's only a 5-foot sidewalk. So they have to go into the street. It's not a good idea to ask people to go into the street. Secondly, I think it's been 20 years, maybe 30 years. There was a discussion about how many firemen should be on a house, all right? Daytona Beach and the county both had 2. Daytona Beach was going to 3. Daytona Beach is now at 4. 2 in, 2 out. It's a safety issue. You guys are at 3. You've been at 3 for 20, 30 years. You're supposed to be going to 4. That's why I'm opposing cutting back. You have supposedly you were supposed to go. So do you still want to go? It's a safety issue. There's a big article on because I don't know anything about computers, the digital infrastructure data centers. It's a big thing. Are we prepared for those? Thank you.
Thank you. Don, is that left over? Yeah, okay. Okay, that takes us to closing remarks by County Manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. First off, just to address quickly the 2 in, 2 out that was mentioned. That's, of course, 2 firemen in, 2 firemen out. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how many on necessarily a truck, because we respond with multiple trucks. Remember, I said we had 20 fire stations. The average house fire usually is manned with at least 12 to 14 firemen when there's an actual fire. So they're obviously coming from multiple stations, multiple trucks. So the 2 in, 2 out is our rule. We just get there a little bit differently than a more compact city, which can put more on a truck because they have fewer stations, fewer trucks. So we're coming at it a little bit differently, but it's the same idea. And we have, in the time I've been here, gone from, in the time I've been at the county, in the fire as 98, you had 1 professional in a station and 400 volunteers. So you're now at, and just in my time as manager, we've gone to the 3 professionals and a fire, and you have a couple of stations with 4, and you have floaters in other stations. So the chief and his team, they go ahead and put people in those stations based on what they see for a need. And you do have 1 fire station that he's mentioned that gets about a call every day and a half, and that's the one that has 2. So, and that's the one we're looking at moving, by the way. That was discussed to an area that's more advantageous and would get more use. That's in the works. But I just don't want anyone to think we're just sitting there.
George, question for you.
Yeah.
So, Ormond for a long time had 3, and they complained because the county had 2, and Ormond had 3. But if you have 3 on a truck, can't 2 still deal with the fire, and you have the 1 out at the truck, the 3rd one?
You could, but I'm just saying that the standard fire practice is 2 in, 2 out. But again, it could be 2, and it could also be, there might be other people on the scene. Sometimes there's a sheriff's deputy who's gotten there, and then sometimes there's other people. But the standard is 2 in, 2 out, but we just get there differently because we man stations differently, and I just want to point that out. And so we made great strides, but remember, like adding a person is adding to 20 stations. So it's not adding, when you're doing that, you're adding, actually think about that for a minute, for 3 shifts. So that's a 60-person swing when you do that. And so we have done that, and we're continuing to work on it. I mean, I always talk to the fire guys in terms of an evolution, and we evolve with the needs of the community, and that's what we're trying to do. Again, I didn't want that to go unsaid.
Can I ask a question to that?
Sure.
Sure. Did Mr.
Yes.
What happened to the evolution of the volunteer?
Well,
like caveman?
I think a lot of them became professional, and again, I could theorize on some things, but volunteerism in this country is down in general, and to have that consistency. I will say, the last time I checked, still like a very large portion of the United States, like 2/3 of the land mass of the United States is still protected by volunteer firemen. So this county, we have a very advanced system, and we should be proud of it. And again, we got to keep evolving it and keep it going. But to say, it's behind, it would be very inaccurate. We're I think, a cutting edge. And we worked real hard. But no, the volunteers, we have a handful, and some cities have a handful. They're still there. They often do other duties, similar to what you have in the sheriff's department, where they'll do traffic control, they'll do other duties to help out at a fire scene. And some, I think, start that way, and then eventually might go to fire school and become a professional. But again, back in the time of when we were talking, they could actually be a volunteer that was kind of at the tip of the spears, they would call it. Those days are gone. The laws are different now, and they have to be a professional fireman with certain training to be at the tip. So just another point. And then of course there's different fires. You know, I mean, woodland fire is different than house fire, and it's treated a little bit differently. Okay, the other thing I just wanted to update quick on the Miller Lake. Again, you know, I think I mentioned it last time, but I want to repeat that, you know, Ben and the team have been working the issue, but it's not an issue that has an overnight solution. So we have met with the Department of Transportation. We have met with the city of DeBerry. And these are just not just meetings. They're moving forward with trying to get, I think mentioned right-of-way or some sort of an easement to get a more direct route through Beduke Energy land, where they have that big solar farm. There's also a tower, but the idea being to get us a more direct route to manage the lake. And the idea is not to wait for it necessarily to flood. However, that has to be permitted with the St. John's Water Management District and how they're going to allow us to manage that lake. It's not something that Ben Bartlett or George Rechtenwald, you know, can just decide to do. It is a lake, and they control lakes, and they control lake levels. And but we are prepared, you know, in this season, because we knew it was going to take time. This is not something we can snap our fingers and do. So we're already prepared with the Department of Transportation, City of DeBerry. If the lake gets to the point where it's threatening access, Ben will ask permission for a pumping authorization from St. John's, should that occur. Okay, and right now I could tell you that he keeps track, and the latest readings for that lake, it's actually gone down 5 inches, even though we've been having the rainstorms we've been having. So it continues to recede. And again, I know that it's probably in there, you know, they're looking at it probably overall higher than it was in those drier years, but we are in a wet period. And so what we're looking at will be, you know, how can we maintain access should it go up? This idea also, somehow we control the permits of those other places, is not accurate either. When those other places, yes, we did not, we didn't object, and they bring that up all the time, to the one permit. But there's other permits that they're talking about, while we can weigh in and say what our thoughts are. And I actually asked Ben to do that on one of the ones that they mentioned, or maybe both, depending if they apply. But again, it's ultimately not our decision at that point. It's the decision of St. John's. So I just want to point that out, but we will look at what they brought up about the Publix and the Big Lots. I'm not so sure they're accurate about the hospital, because the hospital is in a whole nother basin, and that water goes to, if it's what we're thinking, we're studying that. Actually, Ben brought that out when he was up there, but that water that's down in where the Advent Hospital is would eventually move towards I-4 and goes out a chain of lakes out through Deltona, or has been pumped down the I-4 right away. But it does not head in the direction of the Wawa Lake. So I just want to again update on those items that were said, and we're not ignoring it. It is one of many, many places we are working on. And thank you, Mr. Robbins and others for Santiago for pointing that out, that yes, there's millions of dollars and more coming. There'll be more in the next council meeting as well. So we're moving a lot of projects along. I'll be looking at my staff. Actually, I'll probably be adding some key people into the staff as we roll into over $400 million in work that's coming. So thank you.
Just a quick question, and I appreciate that update. I want to make sure I understood you correctly on the pumping. I think that we can't pump on our own, correct?
Right.
We have to get permission of FDOT and.
Right. In this case, to turn on the pump, it's an emergency authorization from St. John's. Then, and of course here, because of where we're pumping, we have to work with the Department of Transportation because they hold the line and the pathway to get it into the DeBerry system. And of course, so that's why DOT and DeBerry are partners in this operation. Now, in the future, we're working with the department. They may help us with the funding. But if we get a clear shot kind of to the due west as we're looking at, to the river, that would take DeBerry out of the equation and leave. And then again, I think my goal would be to have a lake management system in place so I don't necessarily have to get with St. John's. If they preset an elevation and say, and let's see, some of the DeBerry ponds are like that, there's already an elevation set by St. John's, and they'll say, when it gets to here, this elevation, you can turn the pump on. I don't have to get an emergency authorization like I do today in this particular lake until they set that elevation.
And to get an emergency authorization, you have to wait till the water is close to putting the road in danger?
They have to say what the emergency, and we would have to ask, and it would probably be, in this case, access, because we know that at a certain elevation, they're going to lose access along that north side.
Why, this would be St. John's, I guess. Why wouldn't St. John's allow us to avoid the emergency and pump it down before the storm?
Because the other side of the story is that St. John's is in charge of keeping water in the lake. They view it differently than we're viewing it. Remember, their job is to keep fresh water available to us. So they like when lakes are full. That is, so, you know, we're coming at this from one direction, they're coming at it from another. You know, we want the water. We want the water there to recharge. We want the water because you got Blue Springs around the corner that has a minimum flow that they have to set. And they want, and by the way, you know, that spring is meeting that minimum flow for the last couple of years because you've had this kind of rainfall. You see, so they don't want water moved out of basins, closed basins. They want them there. They want a healthy lake. And so they realize that there's a balance and they don't want people necessarily flooded, but they're going to value that. They're going to view that lake differently than those people that are living on that lake.
Have they had to put eyes on it? Have they had a representative out there?
I think they have, and they've studied it, and they have people on it. And
there are people flooded now, though.
No, they're not. There's nobody flooded on that lake. I was just out there. Being in their yard is not a flood. That's nature, and they don't even consider that. They're going to look at access, and they're going to look at water in their house. And the only house that was mentioned there today is not a house. It was a trailer. Mm-hmm. That trailer was put down by the edge of the lake. We don't even know if it has a permit or not. But everything else you're talking about, it's yard flooding, backyard flooding, maybe a dock, but not their living structure.
Okay.
Versus the 2,000 homes, by the way, that did have water in them throughout the rest of the county, and especially on the east side. So, I mean, that's the kind of the scale difference.
Okay, County Attorney.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Don Dempsey, you're up first today.
Yeah. Ben, I didn't know if I could catch you. I was just wondering if there's any updates on the Lake Gertie area basin study. Similar questions from locals in that area about where we are.
Yes, sir. You should be seeing that one come to council here very shortly. That one is paired with another one in the DeLand Ridge area, and we're waiting on a final proposal on that, but that one's coming soon. It's a smaller basin, so it should move a lot quicker. And I think the focus on that is going to be identifying which houses, you know, are vulnerable to these floods, and probably, you know, should they be there or should they not be there? It's such a large area. Moving water out of there is pretty difficult. So I think we're going to be looking at modeling that area, seeing where the water stages up, and seeing which properties we're going to identify for potential
ETA
acquisition.
on when that basin
It should be here. You should have the probably next month. You should have the in front of you for approval, and then we'll kick it off and get going. And we already had that area has already been studied before, so it'll be really an update. That one's smaller one, so it should go pretty quick.
And then what about the high school FFA area near the truck route?
The city of DeLand's doing that one. That's already underway. It's part of Transform 386, but it was one of their requested studies.
Okay.
It's already underway.
And we are looking at that multiple ways. You've got the flood part of it. I can also tell you that we're working with the school. They may want to relocate the farm. That may bring some other opportunities as well. I'll update you as that unfolds. And the Department of Transportation, because the Department of Transportation is going to do an intersection project with 44 and the truck route, and they'll be putting in a turn lanes there, and it may require expansion for their stormwater. And they already send stormwater to that pond at the back of the farm, so there could be room for improvement there.
Well, thank you. That's all I had.
By the way, it was his birthday last week, a real birthday. We missed it.
Troy Kent.
Thank you, Chairman. Nothing. Have a nice evening.
Vice Chair Reinhardt.
Nothing, sir. Have a nice evening.
What is going on here? Somebody
Councilman Robbins.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, guys. I'm going to break the streak a little bit. I just have a couple things. First and foremost, I want to thank Ben and his crew have been on point, awesome. George as well, and his upper management. I'm literally sending in an email from constituents, and we're getting not just calls and emails back, but we're getting response times. I think we had one. I was literally standing on the phone, and one of the supervisors was on scene within 30 minutes, and it's getting noticed in the community, Ben, George, and people appreciate that, especially now that we're in rainy season. But that between Oak Hill, you guys are doing a lot of work in Oak Hill, catching some things and picking up on some things that are going on down there, Edgewater, New Smyrna, and out in the rural portions of Samsula. We appreciate it. I just wanted to kind of pass that forward. A couple things. County Manager, I had talked to you earlier about getting an update for bringing back that agricultural products not produced on the property. Did we have a timeline or an idea on when that was possibly coming back?
Good evening, Clay Irvin, Director of Growth and Resource Management. That was incorporated into that larger ordinance where we were addressing all of the uses that were from either permitted by right to either special exceptions or conditional uses. So that will be coming to you probably the second meeting in August.
Okay, thank you.
The ordinance already has gone through the PLDRC. There were some comments from the members of the PLDRC. It's the first, pardon me, excuse me, it's going to be the first meeting in August.
Okay.
All righty.
Can you send me, Clay, when you get a chance, the notes from PLRDC?
Yeah, we'll get
on everything?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Also, to Council, I'll probably need your help with this one for sure for a workshop. Just a quick overview. There's been some development in the city of New Smyrna Beach, and especially in and around Glencoe and 44. And I'm getting a lot more complaints, and I went down there and ate lunch a couple times and watched an increasing amount of vehicles in the last, let's say, 6 months to a year, utilizing Glencoe Road in New Smyrna Beach southbound. For those who are not familiar with Glencoe, it's one of a total of 3 roads. There's Glencoe, Old Mission, and US 1 that go in between 44 and 442. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I was trying to figure out how we can relieve traffic on Glencoe, but also kill a couple birds in the process of doing so. And what I would like to do is make a motion to talk about or to have a transportation workshop. And there's some possible dates. I'd like to try to do it, guys, to not only address the Glencoe area, but incorporate promoting industry and industrial. I know that was a goal, Mr. Santiago, a few meetings ago, and a goal of this council is promoting industrial areas, any of these space overlay areas. I have one of the largest contiguous industrial area in Southeast Volusia, which I believe we can alleviate some of this traffic and also improve possibly Old Mission Road south of Josephine to Park Avenue where that industrial area is. It would kill a couple birds in terms of promoting industry as it's designed, possibly improving stormwater, traffic flow, improving traffic safety on Glencoe, but also to the ditches on Old Mission are very deep. There's been some traffic fatalities over the years, but also too, there's been some emails from Mr. Gunther, and I hope everybody's reading them. I think there is some validity to them, and I would like to have a discussion with this whole scenario. It's complex, but there is a Southeast Volusia Chamber Summit on October 23rd. They would like to be included. If we can have a transportation workshop prior to that summit, so I can give an update to the chamber on the progress that we're making in Southeast Volusia, but also gives them an opportunity to weigh in on any additional needs that we may miss. And yeah, that's, Chair, would you like me to
Can
put
I add
that?
something to that?
Yeah, go ahead, David.
Thanks, Danny. I think if you want to add the element of the industrial type of stuff, and it's kind of tied into transportation, I think that's an important element to it. But maybe we could also include, if it's not too complex and with too many participants, someone from our economic team, whether it's
Absolutely.
Team Volusia or something like that. See, what do we need to do to kind of grease that?
So, absolutely, David, you're correct. But we have, and during this meeting, the whole goal of this meeting is to look at funding sources, right? We're going to need funding sources if we're going to improve Old Mission Road, right? And why I want to get the ball rolling on this, and several things are currently under design. Tad put out a great email today outlining some approximate costs and how we can possibly achieve them. And we have $5 million, which is just a drop in the bucket of new money, not the $5 million council approved last year for traffic safety improvements, but this is budgeted in this year's budget. We can appropriate that for projects, but also to talk about possibly bonding. County Manager, was it the gas tax fund? You said we needed a funding source.
Right. I think I cut the exact year, but back in the early 2000s, we bonded, we did a $65 million bond issue. We intended to pay it back with impact fees, but it was guaranteed using gas tax. And in fact, because impact fees went away for a while, in some cases during the crash, we used gas tax. But we actually have getting that paid off, so you are at a point where if you wanted to do another bond issue for roads, we could look at doing that.
I definitely would like to incorporate that. And Mr. Kent, too, I think we were on the same page. You guys had done this in Ormond about looking at transportation. I got to see if I could pull up your model, unless you have it archived somewhere, where we can really chip away at some of these projects, because I know all of our districts need them, and it's a major thing. But is there any dates that we can collectively, we have some time. So October 23rd, it's going to be around the corner here, though. Would anybody be open to sending this to staff to look at some dates? And I think we can probably get this done, guys, in 2-3 hours tops. But I'll leave my schedule open, and I'll try to accommodate.
I'll just say we've been here 3 hours already today. I mean, I think we could probably get it done in a lot less time than that. And give me some dates, because as long as it's like a 4 p.m. meeting, I'm good.
I'm good with an evening workshop, council.
So let's make it a motion that staff will bring back dates for a transportation workshop / promoting industrial areas /
transportation and stormwater
economic analysis of how to promote that. So it could be, all three of those are important. I might get it done in 3 hours, but I'm good with that, having staff bring us back some dates in
And also,
August, September.
yeah, I'd say probably September, and let's get with Southeast Volusia Chamber and before their summit and make sure we get them on board and their economic development team.
Is the direction for countywide, Danny? I just want to make sure. I know you mentioned a couple of communities, but is the direction to look at this countywide?
Yeah, this is going to be for all council members, but I'm trying to tackle this
I got
project.
you. I got you. But if anybody has any other ideas, in that area,
Specifically, yeah, and then I'll support whatever is feasible for you guys. I mean, we got to work. This is not going to get done just by me, so I'll be there for you guys. But also to staff, if there's any job growth grants, I was trying to find some information on how Park Avenue was done in the past, or any stormwater funds that may be available. But yeah, I appreciate it. If we can look at some dates, whatever works for you guys.
Yep, we got it. We'll put it together.
And let me just make sure.
Anybody opposed?
No.
To that? Okay.
And
Let's do it after the budget meetings. September.
after deer season starts. And Mr. Kent, thank you for being that fourth vote today. Be nice to get out of here if I stop talking. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Santiago?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got three things. On the Miller Lake thing, they obviously have a strategy where they come to every meeting and they bring up their issue, which I applaud, their consistency. But they don't stay till the end, and I don't think we should continue. We've changed our meeting model a couple times to try to address some of their replies or commentary afterwards. I just want to ask if staff has any of one of their emails, and maybe send them the clip of the last hour of this meeting video and saying, hey, watch this. You might get some answers, because the commentary is often that we're not doing anything, or we're not saying anything, or we're not addressing anything. So let's just maybe be proactive. Say, hey, here's a clip of the last hour of comments that included something that's important to you, if it helps. So I just want to throw that out there, because we're accused of not doing anything.
We can also put it on, we have a flood website.
Okay.
So we'll update it there. I can tell they're watching because I mentioned it last time.
Okay.
And their comments, I think today, were based off of what I said.
Okay.
The last meeting.
Good. I just want to make sure they're hearing what we're saying.
I think they're going home and enjoying the evening, and then either tuning us in or watching later.
Later. Okay. Good. Thank you. The other thing is I want to bring back an old issue, the hospital authority. Mr. Dyer, we've won all the battles. The war is over. Is that accurate? West Volusia?
Yes. Yes.
Now, I recall.
Now, I think they may still try a review with the Supreme Court. I can follow up on that. So that may still be one last attempt.
I recall last time I had made some comments about looking at possibilities of a local bill to abolish the West Volusia Hospital Authority, and there was a recommendation to let's wait to see how our battles went about in the local courts. I think I'm back to that point, Council. I think we had a lot of conversation about it. I think we had a couple of basic ideas, but we really never went deep into it. That authority, in my opinion, should be abolished, absorbed, or some type of variation of it. Their governance is just ridiculous. And I don't expect us to hammer it out now, but unless there's objection, I'll try to get some more information and bring back to the council so we can start the dialogue.
Go ahead.
David, and excuse me for my ignorance or not just being as familiar with it. Do we get to, who assigns those people? Just refresh my memory.
They're voted in.
Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll second whatever you want to do on that.
Well, I just wanted to get, unless there's objection, I'd like to get my ducks in a row and bring it back to you guys, is what I'm saying.
No objection.
And then we get the process started.
The challenge is,
It's
once
legislative.
they're gone, we use that money to pay Medicaid.
Medicaid, yes.
And we
Yeah.
We got to get the money
I
somehow.
think it needs to be that we need to thread that needle with ideas on how do we plug the hose, and I don't know those answers yet, but I think it's worth the discussion.
I think the legislature's open to that.
Yeah,
as well.
they had an audit done that I don't think it was very favorable also. So the door's open. Now that I remembered, you said wait for the legal part to pass.
And I'll send something out tomorrow on the status. I don't believe I heard they filed yet for a Supreme Court appeal, but I'll let you know tomorrow.
They're just not good stewards of the tax dollars, and they need to be reined in. And the last thing, Mr. Chair, if I could, Mr. Clay Irving, if you can come to the podium, please, sir. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know why? If those of you that don't know Clay, this is the last meeting Clay's having with us, and I wanted to personally say thank you. I could tell you from my experience, I've served in various public roles for 20 years now, and you're at the top of that list, my friend. I've seen several people do that very, very difficult job. I think George's job is the most toughest, or the city manager, and honestly, the second toughest is yours. I'll tell you my opinion, because you take a lot of public beatings that often are not fair. Some of them are sometimes, just improvements that need to be made in any organization. So I've watched you since I've been a state representative, and I've said, man, that guy is good. So I still feel that. I wish you luck, and I thank you for your service here in Volusia County, and I hope whoever fills your shoes can do at least a good job as you do. So I wanted to give you the opportunity. If you wanted to say anything, I don't know, Mr. Chair, it's up to you, but I didn't want this meeting to finish without saying my thoughts about your service, and you're going to be missed.
Thank you. Yeah, probably everybody would like to say something. When I was listening to you today, Clay, I thought, is this a recording? And if it is, I mean, you have it down so well. You know the law. You know what you need to say. I hope you can just pass that recording on to the next person to have it be that clean. It has been rather amazing to watch you operate sometimes. You've been a tremendous help to me every time I've asked you to meet me somewhere and try and help a homeowner. Didn't always work out for them because there's this thing called the law, but they got a lot of help. And I don't know if you'll mind if I make your announcement for you, but Clay is buying at the Elusive Grape right after this meeting. For anybody that wanted to go, he's part owner of that.
Zoning variances.
You will be missed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have to. Everything from our meetings in South Daytona at the mobile home park with a very, very loud crowd can be. Yes, thank you. And the way you controlled that, and the way you helped me through that very, very early on to now. I hate to spoil Troy's surprise, but Troy, I'm going to have to tell you, Troy's having the actual trophy made that says best in the business. So you truly were, you truly are, and we are going to miss you. Thank you very, very much for all you've brought to Volusia County. Thank you.
Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt, because you're right, and I'm beginning to think it's me, Clay. I got elected to the Ormond Commission. I think you stayed 2 years. I got elected to the County Council, and you stayed about 2 years. So I'm thinking it's me. But in all seriousness, I can echo everything that was said here, and I agree with David. I think that unfortunately the position allows whoever's in that position to take some beatings that aren't warranted. And I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. You are the best in the business, and it's a huge loss for this county, and we will feel that loss. Whoever comes after you has a huge void to fill, and I thank you for your years of dedicated service. I know George had some rumblings about bringing you back for special projects, and and things like that. And Clay, I just say, you know what, you do you, man. You do whatever it is you want to do. And you know, I told my son, who, and I tell you this because it reminds me of you. He's got a little job at Jimmy Hula's while he's home for the summer. And I said, son, you listen to me. This is your number one priority. When you leave that place to go back to college, you want them screaming and crying, saying, no, you can't leave. We need you here. And that's how I feel about you leaving. It's like, no, you can't leave. We need you here. But I'm happy for you in the same sense. But selfishly, I wish you changed your mind. Thanks, Clay.
Can I add one more thing? I just hope, you said George, may have access to you, but I hope that you do provide that access. That's my ask, right? Because that institutional knowledge is priceless, and we're going to need it as we proceed. So
I'm not going anywhere. I'm still living in Volusia County.
Ormond?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, Dan.
Thank you.
George Rectamol.
Before he gets too far, of course, Clay hates this. So
Tequila?
and because he's leaving, this is his penance. But I, of course, obviously agree with everything that has been said. I've known Clay. Actually, we met back when we were a little bit different station in life, and I think it was going to be an annexation issue between Ormond and Holly Hill, and just enjoyed every time we met, and through the years got the opportunity. Actually, we actually had to lobby his wife. She was doing the Citizens Academy, and that's how we lured him here by working through his wife to get her here. And of course, what a coup it was to get him. But I have to say this, and I'll finish with this part, is as great of an employee and public servant as he is, he's that much greater of a human being and a nice guy. And to do all that, and what he has to do and what he has to put up with, and manage the people, manage the expectations, everything out there, it's so rare to find it with such a great person. And that's what you got with Clay Irvin. So
I think that's it from me, Mr. Chair. I want to thank Troy for not having public comments and Matt Reinhardt for not having public comments today, too. So, recognition.
Okay. Don, you keep looking like you have one last thing to say, no? Okay. Then for me, well, I was going to close the meeting, but I want to say one more thing about Miller Lake, because George, you are right, and you knew this already. They come in and they talk in the morning. It's close to their hearts, and they go home and they do listen. They're listening to everything we say right now. And I was also out there a couple weeks ago, and you've been out there. You know the feeling that they have. Yeah, the water's not in their house, but it's taken their property. It's taken docks. It's taken that mobile home you talked about on the water's edge, but it wasn't on the water's edge when they put it there. And now it's been flooded out, and the guy had to move his daughter out. So it's personal. And I know that you understand that, and that you do have a heart for what's going on there. And
Absolutely.
I know the whole council feels it. And we are, even though they don't see everything that we're doing, we're serious about trying to rectify that situation. And I wish we didn't have to beg St. John's to do something before we have to go in and build another temporary road. But
sure, and just remind everyone too that yes, we certainly have a heart. We definitely want it to be improved. And it's not a new problem. It's a problem that we have worked. We bought quite a bit of property, and I think 6 homes that had previously flooded from other times. So again, this is unfortunately it's a continuing problem, and we're committed to trying to find, like I say, a solution where maybe we can manage that lake, get it to an acceptable level, and but I think that's where we're at with the closed basin, with all that's occurred in and around that basin, because you definitely have a lot of development on the edge and in part of that basin. So that has occurred, and a lot of it's been a long time, like the big lots and all that's been there as long as I've been at the county. So,
And it's all concrete.
That's right. And maybe in some of this, and I've asked the team to look at, if they are going forward and with some requests, maybe they can get rid of some of that asphalt that's out there and some of the, in some of these very large parking lots. Do they have to be as big? Can we look at taking some of that asphalt and replacing it with smaller ponds or other things to help relieve the situation? At least every little bit helps, and that's what we may have to do there.
So at 7:25, we are adjourned.